Black Alpha Network. Home of Black excellence. Power to the people.
They look for a chance for you to fall, but they stay close to you as they're your friend while you're in power. But as soon as the opportunity comes, and they may help the opportunity by putting somebody, by planting somebody in your situation, and as soon as the time comes where you're down and out, that's when everybody stick their fork in your neck and in your back. But then one day, if you're strong and you overcome your adversity, then it's going to be their turn. But let's see how well they handle it. I don't think there's people that can handle it as well as I handle it. They're not as tough as they think they are. Everyone thinks they're a tough guy, they're a big shot, but they're not, deep down inside. If you strip them down for what they truly are, they're cowards. Because they manipulate and they misuse people. And only cowards do that because they're insecure themselves and their own manhood. I talk to the smallest, wimpiest guy in the world the same way I talk to the biggest, baddest motherfucker.
Yes, foundational Black American freedmen, unbreakable, untouchable, unmatched. Believe that. Foundational Black American freedmen, exceptional, excellent, and we stronger than ever. Believe that. And foundational Black American freedmen certified BLACK society. We are the culture, we run the culture, and right here, right now on the Black AlphaCast, we going all the way the fuck in. Let's go. All right, here we are. One love to the whole family. I appreciate the pull-up. Certified salute to all of my family. I started off by talking about foundational Black American freedmen, and that's the same type of wave, the same type of energy that we're going to put out today. Because today we are going to cook like we ain't never cooked before. We're going to put it all the way on right here today. Everybody knows when you deal with the Black Alpha Network, when you deal with Certified Black Society, everything we do is about us. Not about someone on the corner, not somebody on the other end, not someone way across the street. No, it starts with us, it ends with us. The beginning, the middle, and the end. Because there's no time to be sharing anything with anybody else. All right, this is all about our exceptional nature. This is all about our greatness. This is all about foundational Black Americans doing whatever the fuck we feel like doing. And everybody else has to bow down. That's the way I see it. That's the way I approach it. And I'm going to always have that energy and I'm going to always bring it. And salute to everybody in the chat. I appreciate all my family because you know, as I say, we are all family. When I speak about FBA, when I talk about freedmen, when I talk about Certified Black Society, that is all of us connected together. They may wish that we was hating each other. They may wish that we didn't like each other. They may try to speak that shit into existence, but they can speak that shit all they want because it's just words, but ain't nothing being said. What's only being said and what's only being recognized is that this is a family tree and this family tree runs deep. That certified FBA freedman soul is in all of us. That's why they can never break us. They can never replace us and they can never erase us. They can hate all the fuck they want to, but remember, that hate goes up. And since we at the very top, we ain't looking down, we just stepping over these motherfuckers. And if you feel me, let's rock today and let's keep bringing that FBA heat because we're going to push that line all the way through and everybody who's on the other side of that is going to have to catch that work, FBA work. And y'all know, ain't nothing like some freedman work. When we put it in, we put it in. When we make the call, we make the call. When we put it down, we put it down. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. Everyone knows that there is this strategy to try to replace foundational Black Americans. Everyone knows it. We've been seeing it. We've been watching it. We've been calling it out. They may not admit it. They may deny it. That's cool. They don't have to say a motherfucking word because we got their ass under the spotlight. And once we got them under the spotlight, then they're going to have to deal with us. See, when you got that FBA soul in you, that allows you to see things that other people cannot see. When you got that FBA soul in you, that allows you to hear things other people can't hear. That allows you to call out bullshit that everybody wants to deny. And it doesn't matter to us because once we make our mind up, we go. We don't freeze, we don't fold, we don't pause, none of that shit. They used to do that in the past. They used to wait for the next era and the next generation. There'll be a better days tomorrow, y'all. Nah, fuck that. Their tomorrow is our today. And today we're going to make it great and then tomorrow we're going to make it even greater. That's the difference in mentality and that's the difference of approach. The approach that we have right now is that we want everything in real time. We want real results. Everything is based on what we deserve. It ain't based upon what we wish, what we hope, what we think might happen if we just goods folks. Man, fuck that. We are exceptional. Foundational Black Americans are great. We are the greatest. I don't mind saying it. I don't mind speaking it. I don't mind putting that shit out in the universe because we are in the front of the line and we ain't worried about who the fuck is behind us. When we move, the whole world moves. The way we walk, everybody walks like us. The way we talk, everybody talks like us. They steal every aspect of our society. We've invented, created, and architecturally built every single thing that everybody loves. Don't that mean that we the best? Don't that mean we the best? If you got a motherfucking resume like that, what does that make you? That makes you certified. And that's why we say certified black society. That's why we say foundational black American. That means that we built this motherfucker, and that means when we did it with style. And we do it with class because nobody can match us. What I said, we are unmatched, we are unbreakable, and we are untouchable. And when you got that in you, and you understand that, and that's a part of you, then you walk different. You move different. You slide different. That's why this era right here is putting it down. That's why we've done more in the last 5 years than they've done in the last 50. Feel me, family. The reason why we have made so much progress, the reason why we have pushed that line forward is because we have identified, we've accepted, and we've absorbed who we really are. Not who they say we are. Not what they want us to be. Not what everybody goes to bed at night, crosses their little motherfucking fingers, and prays that foundational black Americans would just go away. Pray that foundational black Americans would slip and fall. If they waiting on us to slip and fall, they gonna be waiting forever because it's never gonna happen. If you didn't like FBA yesterday, you gonna hate FBA right now because foundational black Americans right now don't give a fuck. We giving everybody something to hate about. They was hating us anyway. They was mad anyway. They was some haterade drinking motherfuckers anyway. So right now we saying, good, if you're gonna be mad, we're gonna give you something to be mad about. Get some popcorn and enjoy the show because we're gonna put on the show. And see, that's the difference. Back in the old days, black folks was too worried about upsetting people. They was too worried about making friends and being accepted. They didn't want to ruffle the feathers and they didn't want to rock the boat. Now, we don't give a fuck. Rock the goddamn boat. I'll kick the motherfucking boat over. I don't give a fuck because my people deserve it. My people deserve anything that my people want because my people have been through the most. And when I say my people, I'm talking about every single one of y'all. Just like how when we all speak, we talking about each other. We stand together. We build together. We work together. Everyone knows how it is. So as far as I'm concerned, FBA Freedmen, Certified Black Society, if we want it, we put our mind on it, we're focused on it, then we deserve to have it and we got the skills and the talent to do so. That is the difference between us and everybody else. When we say we gonna build, we gonna build. When we say we gonna grind, we gonna grind. And when we say we gonna shine, we gonna shine. Put on your motherfucking cardies because we blinging. Understand that. So with all that said, and on this episode right here, the Black AlphaCast, go ahead. We done dropped the top. We all gas, no brakes. We gonna do about $150 down the fucking highway. And they gonna all see us zoom right past because we going full speed right now. Make sure you smash that like button. I appreciate the pull up and y'all know I love you. Yes, indeed. Right here, with all that on the table and everything we broke down, and I want to come out the gate smoking because I want everybody to understand that this soul that we have and this energy that we have, it ain't going nowhere. And I want to say this off rip. We gonna break down a lot of folks who gonna hate us. We gonna break down a lot of folks who got smoke for us. And we gonna break down a whole goddamn world that wants to replace us and put their name where ours belongs. But I'm gonna give you the answer before I give you all the statements. Ain't none of that shit gonna happen. They can do whatever the fuck they want to do. They can try whatever the fuck they want to try. But in the beginning of today's episode, to the end of today's episode, to the fucking end of time, foundational black Americans gonna be here. Foundational black Americans gonna ride. Foundational black Americans are going to be what we've always been since day one. And that is exceptional. Salute to Dr. Claude Anderson, our FBA elder. So we're gonna take all of that ancestral presence. We're going to take all of that energy that we get from our elders. We're going to take all of that soul that we have today, and we're going to get even better. So as I said, if they didn't like us yesterday, they're going to hate us even more tomorrow, and we're going to give the whole motherfucking world something to be mad at. Everybody who's waiting for us, everybody who's praying on our downfall, they're going to find out that they ended up being the ones who failed, and we was the ones still standing. Yes, indeed. Now, when it come down to this strategy that everybody is trying to use today of trying to replace foundational black Americans. Salute to our brother Tariq Nasheed. He broke down the terms an ethnocide. And for those who don't understand that and people who aren't aware of it, an ethnocide is when you try to erase someone's ethnicity. Because if you can erase someone's ethnicity, you can erase their culture, you can erase them. And that is the end game. That has always been the end game. Because foundational black Americans are different than everyone. The same thing that we cheer, the same thing that we represent, the same thing that makes us great, the same thing that's got us right here today is the same exact reason why they want to replace us. When you are an exceptional lineage, when you have an exceptional heritage, and when you have an exceptional culture, that very reason is why everybody is jealous, why everyone has vitriol, spite, anger, why these motherfuckers can't stop thinking about us, why we have a whole summer home in their heads rent free. We goddamn 13 bathrooms and 15 fucking bedrooms. We got a fucking 2-car garage with 5 vehicles in the front. This is why we live in these people's mind. They don't live in ours. Hell no. Like I said, we ain't looking at these motherfuckers. We looking past them, around them, or straight through them. That's what we doing, because we couldn't have gotten where we've got worrying about other people. If we worried about these people as much as they worried about us, we wouldn't have had time to build this country. We wouldn't have had time to invent everything that makes this country go. We wouldn't have had time to be the bosses at the bosses table that everyone duplicates. We wouldn't have time for any of that if we was worrying about them as much as they worrying about us. So there's simple statistics here. There's a simple denominator here, and I'm gonna tell you what that is. Foundational Black Americans are the bosses because everybody watches us. Foundational Black Americans are the champions because everybody duplicates us. Foundational Black Americans are the best, and everybody else just falls in line. Let me say this. This world has 2 things for certain and 2 consistencies. And that is, there are foundational Black Americans, and then there's everybody else who wants to be a foundational Black American. Say it with your chest all day. Yes. Damn, we cooking today on the Black AlphaCast. Let me run that back, put the drop top in reverse and say it again. Y'all know how we do. When we start spitting that real shit, that hot fire, we got to say it 2 times for the people in the back row. Let me say it one more time. There are 2 things for certain on this planet, in this world, and in the universe. And that is, there are 2 types of people. There are foundational Black Americans and everybody else who wants to be a foundational Black American. That is where it ends. And family, we on the good side. You know what I'm saying? We in the winner circle. They in the I want to be. They in the I wish I was. They in the why can't them FBAs just stop? Nah, we ain't gonna stop. Keep on hating though. We appreciate it. One love. So everybody understands that exceptional nature and that exceptional soul that we can point to. Because remember, we can point to shit we've done. We don't have to just make up pioneers that didn't exist. We don't have to make up achievements that never happened. We don't have to flee or fled or hop or jump or skip to someone else's homeland. We don't have to do any of that. Our history is very well documented. That's why they're going to have such a hard time trying to replace us. See, you can replace somebody who ain't never did shit. All right, these other groups that have never done nothing, they can replace them tomorrow because they never were really in. When it comes to foundational Black Americans, they can't replace us because we have too much of a history here. We have too much greatness here. Your pen, your eraser, your chalkboard ain't big enough. Ain't nothing big enough. We bigger than every last thing. Every last thing. A young Black girl in 1962, you can't replace her. A young Black brother in 1865, you couldn't replace him. And all of us right here today, all of our ancestors, all of our family, our children, everything that we got cannot be replaced. No, because we're at the head of the table. You can't replace the head of the table, man. No, What you can do is you can accept it. You can sit your ass down. You can get a fucking ticket and watch, but that's as much as they can do. So when foundational Black Americans put out this energy that we have, and I'm talking about everything, you could look at every single era that we've been in. The indigenous era, civil rights era, slavery, Reconstruction, right now, reparations, freedmen, B1 certified era. This right here is bigger than anything that anybody could ever come up with, especially when you're dealing with a hater, especially when you're dealing with a counterfeit, especially when you're dealing with the dominant society. Ain't nothing that they could ever come up with could ever match FBA. That's why we say that we are unmatched. And if you're unmatched, you're unbreakable. And if you're unbreakable, you're untouchable. And if you're all 3 of them, then you are us, FBA certified. Now, you're starting to see this play that has been going on for a long time. And we have had our ancestors who have broken it down. Shout out to our brother, Dr. Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude, which is a brilliant man, spoke about a lot of these things in the 1970s and the 1980s. He prophesied this. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she prophesied this. And all of us who are students of our master teachers, we're aware of what they were saying. And everything that they have said has came to fruition and has came to light. And this is the strategy to try to replace us, to try to remove us, the strategy to try to put somebody in our place who is docile. Because when foundational Black Americans step in the scene, when we step into place, when we step in the building, one thing is for sure, is that we do not fold for nobody. We do not bow to the dominant society. Our whole energy is different. We call out motherfuckers who are off code. We call out motherfuckers who's cooning. We call out people who do not have the best interest of the lineage. Other groups don't do that. So therefore, those other groups become very friendly and they become an asset to the dominant society. That's why they don't mind bringing in millions of people illegally. That's why they don't mind trying to bring in all these actors to play our roles. That's why they don't mind removing us from certain situations, trying to lock us out and giving them same benefits for people that do not deserve them.
Hola familia, I am so proud to be here with our dear friends from CASA, and we are here to say that Maryland will be a state that is not just welcoming to our immigrant communities, but our immigrant communities will take a rightful leadership place in our state. It is our time. Maryland will lead, and it will be done with our friends at CASA at the helm. God bless you, and let's get this done.
That's why I was saying, if you want to understand how they're trying to replace foundational Black Americans, then look in the mirror at how great foundational Black Americans are and how foundational Black Americans are the only people who fight the fuck back. And that'll give you every single reason why they scared. That'll give you every single reason why they jealous. This all starts with these motherfuckers that shook. And we, over the last 5 years, have been so much on code that we got everybody shook. We got politics shook. We got the social world shook. We got the media shook. We got these tethers shook. Everybody is shook. So they said, how can we get FBA out the building? You can't. How can we get FBA to stop fighting for justice? You can't. How can we get FBA to stop making their reparations claim? You can't. The only thing that can be done is you can run that motherfucking check. The only thing that can be done is you give us our just due, and the only thing that can be done is you give that shit up or you get it took. And when I say get it took, y'all see what we doing. We not only snatching paperwork, we not only snatching these motherfuckers' wigs back, we out here snatching justice when these motherfuckers try to take it from us. We out here snatching and regulating anything that is off code. And the code is what has everybody shook as we speak on. Once certified Black society got on code, everybody knew what the fuck they had to do. They had to run. See, we don't run from nobody. All right. The one thing about foundational Black American freedmen is that we have always planted our feet firm on the ground. We've always stood for what we represented, and we've always represented what's ours. That is what we do. If anything, we run other motherfuckers out the paint. I mean, look around you. How many motherfuckers we done ran off the block? How many motherfuckers we done ran out the paint? How many motherfuckers we done ran off the field? They don't even show their face no more because they knew when you come around FBA on that bullshit, you gonna get regulated. You gonna get G-checked. I told you, we had a G-check list. We put a bunch of names on that motherfucking list and just went right down them. We done sat here right now and corrected a lot of mistakes from the past. All that open door policy and we all friends and everybody can come on in and we's all blacks and flat blackness, we done erased all that shit. So as they try to attempt to erase foundational Black Americans, when you look at it, we've been erasing them. And that's why I say right here on the Black AlphaCast today, we're going to break down all the strategies that they have, but I'm going to give you the end of the story before the story begins. And it goes like this. Foundational Black Americans will always run the yard. Foundational Black Americans will always be exceptional. And foundational Black Americans are going to always turn this motherfucker up. And y'all know can't nobody turn up like we have. Check the record. And look around you. Look at all 50 states. You got Black folks pulling up to city councils. You got Black folks pulling up to summits. You got Black folks pulling up to police stations. Black folks out here are getting it in. We not running no more. That shit is sitting back and watching things happen and crossing our fingers and hoping and wishing and coping. Man, fuck that. We out here pulling up, pull up season. It ain't pull up summer, it's pull up season. That's what happens when you want to get it. See, we understood that nobody was ever going to come and do anything for us. That's that old shit. We always expected someone to do for us. Once you start to do for self, look around you. Now you see what happens. Oh, y'all ain't gonna give us this? We gonna pull up. Oh, y'all gonna give us the runaround? We gonna pull up. Oh, y'all gonna give us benign neglect? Ignore us? Pull up. And once you start seeing these people and they understand that you're gonna see them eye to eye, and they understand they're not just gonna say some shit on TV, on the camera, and then go home and live in comfort. Fuck no. As they say, if we ain't gonna be comfortable, ain't nobody gonna be comfortable. And if you look right now, ain't a motherfucker out here comfortable because they know freedmen are on code. See, when freedmen are on code, that makes everybody scared. Oh yes, because everybody tries to exploit us. And once the exploited can no longer be exploited, the whole system is turned upside down. And family, we have turned the system upside down. Look at it. Watch it. It's playing out in real time. We don't have to figure nothing out. We don't have to guess. It ain't that deep. It ain't that complex. If you got two eyes and you can see, then you see the foundational Black Americans done threw a wrench in the game and fucked everything up. People who thought that they was going to get something for free ain't getting it no more. People who thought they was going to play us ain't playing us no more. People who thought they was going to hustle, con, and trick back us, they can't do none of that shit no more. Because we have changed the game. We have created a new wave, and we are pushing the line straight to the bank. FBA over everything. So, when we sit here and talk about this replacement strategy and this ethnocide that they've been creating, something that we've all been aware of, you have to look at it in the details and understand every single group who comes to the United States of America is coming here to align themselves with supremacy. All right? Just because supremacy is a global system, that does not mean we have global allies who fight it. Let me say that one more time. That's a Black Alpha Network exclusive. Just because supremacy is global doesn't mean our allies are global. And a lot of folks made the mistakes before thinking just because this is a global system of oppression, that the global victims of this oppression will always side with each other. No, it has been historically proven that the only lineage that was ever open to working with the other victims of supremacy have been FBA. We were always open for it. We were siding with people who don't like us they damn self. We were siding with other anti-black people because we thought we had something in common. We thought we's all oppressed folks of the world. Everybody's out to get us anyway. You would think that a victim would side with another victim to go after the oppressor. That ain't how it works. It's foundational Black Americans right here on our own. Foundational Black Americans right here on our own island, doing foundational Black American work and handling foundational Black American business, and nobody is our friend. As the old saying goes, you want a friend, look in the mirror. And every time I look in the mirror, I see all of you. I see the whole family tree. I see the whole FBA family, and I love it. I don't need any friends. I say this, and I've been on record saying it. If we went to war right now, I'm not waving no flag for no new recruits. I don't want it. If I need a certified sister, I got my certified sisters right here in this family tree. I need a certified brother. I got my certified brothers right here in this family tree. We got everything that we ever needed. We got everything we ever asked for. How do you know we have? Because look what we've done. We built this whole goddamn country on our own. What the fuck we need another victim of supremacy for? We don't need them. And guess what? They're not extending their hand out to us any goddamn way. We're not going to sit here and try to integrate with folks who ain't got no love for us. I don't give a damn who they are, whether that's the dominant society or minion of the dominant society. And when you speak of minions of the dominant society, what you come to find out, family, is that the majority of victims of supremacy are also minions of supremacy. Stockholm syndrome. How are you going to unite with someone who has Stockholm syndrome? The difference between us, and remind you, this is difference 9,278,000,000 because we could sit here and name a plethora of differences between FBA and the rest of the world because FBA is different. But one of those differences that we have from everyone else, we don't run around here with Stockholm syndrome. We don't run around here and love massa. We have a whole culture and lineage based on us, doing what's best for us, building with each other, standing together. We don't run around here and say, let's stand with massa. That's what these other groups do. Do y'all know in these other places, they actually shame you for not being a slave? That's what they do. I'm telling you, straight up, travel the world, you will see it. In these other communities and these other groups and these other lineages, what they do, they get mad at each other if you want to be independent. Being independent is the worst thing in the world to them. Oh, yes, it is. They don't want to be real. They don't want to be on their own. Look at the Commonwealth. Y'all see it right there. Y'all seen them crying about the Queen. I mean, they had videos and these motherfuckers was boo-hooing. They considered the Queen of England the Queen of the Commonwealth. You got folks in Jamaica calling her the Queen. They didn't call Jamaicans the Queen. They didn't call folks in Nigeria the Queen. They said the Queen, aka Karen with a crown, aka Master of the Commonwealth. They said she was their queen. You see what I'm talking about? And anytime someone is independent and self-sufficient and stood up and say, that ain't my queen, we represent ourselves, then all the other minions will get mad at him. You guys see the difference in culture. We have a culture where it's us first. You come around FBA and you talking anything other than FBA, we gonna roast your ass. Y'all know we roast motherfuckers so bad, they carry vendettas against us for the rest of their life. You might call a motherfucker a name in the 3rd grade, and then this motherfucker be 59 years old still mad at you for some shit that happened in recess. But that's cool. I like that, as a matter of fact. I don't even dispute it. Stay mad, motherfucker, because that just lets me know that our roasting skills are A1. That's what it is. Our children roast folks. Look at that. Look what I'm saying right now. If we call somebody a name, I ain't gonna say what the name is. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They said, you called this in the 3rd grade. It has something to do with a scratcher, okay? Yeah, or something scratcher. That's what it was. But the fact is that if a motherfucker stays mad for the rest of their life based on what our FBA children were saying, man, that means our FBA children are on code. Run that shit back. If a motherfucker gets mad and some shit that was said to him in recess by foundational black American children, that means our foundational black American children are on code, and that means our code is so strong and it is so self-first that it runs from our adults all the way to our children. Tell me about it. That's the FBA fact. Big one. I'm telling them, we giving them truth checks, fact checks, reality checks. That's all we know how to do, man. That's all we know how to do. All we know how to do is win. FBA know how to win. That little shit where motherfuckers used to think FBA was losing and when's we gonna get a better day? What's that little Trey Songz song? How many more times? How many more times what? How many more times we gonna build another country? How many more times we gonna be the culture? How many times the world gonna follow us? Oh yeah, that right there, oh that ain't never gonna stop. But all that wimping and simping and crying and moaning and shit, we don't do that because our culture's too strong. Our culture is way too strong. We are here to dispel the myth that FBA was ever losing. FBA don't lose. FBA don't lose. How do you know? Because if FBA ever lost, we wouldn't be here. We are in lineage that if we lost, we wouldn't exist. The very fact that we do exist and everything that exists revolves around us, it shows you that we're winners. And that's why right here on the Black Alpha Network, I always say we are bosses living in the winner circle. Our whole goddamn life been a winning streak. You don't do what we've done and walk around and say, man, I know we lose now. Man, fuck that. A coon may lose, a counterfeit may lose, a Sambo may lose. Fine. A certified foundational black American freeman, all we do is win. When I look at my women, I see a whole world that wants to be an FBA woman. That's winning. When I look at my brothers, I see a whole world that want to be an FBA brother. That's winning. So if a motherfucker run around here talking that how many more times shit, and Roland Martin gonna go cry in the car with his KFC, his Popeyes, and his goddamn church's chicken, I tell him, speak for your goddamn self. Because over here, all we do is win. And that's the bottom line. That's a big fact. Now, going back to our culture and how our culture is so strong that even our children are on code. Did you see any FBA children crying over the Queen? That's my question to the whole world. Anybody listening right now, did y'all see any FBA children crying over the Queen? No? Okay. Well, did you see any grown-ass people in the diaspora crying over the Queen? Yup. Look at that. Look at the difference. Foundational black American kids don't even know who the fuck the Queen of England was. Don't know who the King of England is. Don't know none of that shit. But I tell you what, foundational black American children are out here starting their own little businesses. Foundational black American children are starting to learn financial literacy. Foundational black American children are out here getting passed down that certified energy. While folks in the diaspora was tripping, falling all over their fucking self. I mean, just crying, their nose was snotting up. They needed 5 boxes of Kleenexes. So once again, our children are more on code right here in foundational black America. And that is indicative of how strong our culture is. Yes, we're here to cancel all the myths and we're here to reinforce all the truth. And the truth is FBA is exceptional and we can point to things. Back to what I was saying about these tethers who come over here, or these minions of the dominant society, or these Stockholm syndrome having people from the diaspora. The difference between us and them is that they don't have that. Their grown ass adults are falling, crying over the fucking Queen of England, and foundational black American kids are going on about their business. The same way foundational black American adults were going at it. Look at the difference of how that situation played out, and look how we acted, and look how everyone else acted. But family, it's not just that case. You can look across the board. Look how we act on a day-to-day basis. Look how we think. Look how we walk. Look how we move. Can't nobody ever get mad when we say we different. We different because the facts and the reality is we move completely separate than everyone else. Everyone else in the diaspora has a defeated passive mentality. And I'm not talking about your onesies and twosies. Because first thing someone's going to say is, well, not all of them. No, the majorities of them. And the majorities of us are on code. How do you know the majority of us is on code? Because look how much time, energy, and resources that the dominant society has to spend just to try to stop 3 of us. If you got 3 certified FBAs on code, look what they do. They call up every motherfucker they can find. They make every single type of move that they can make. They do every single type of trick that they could possibly fathom when foundational black Americans get on code. They not out here spending money. Remember, money talk, bullshit walk. They not out here spending all that goddamn money to try to censor us, to try to stop us, to try to put every hurdle and blockade in front of us from being on code if we wasn't on code. Trust me, when motherfuckers is off code, when they running around here talking about yes we can, and they running around here talking about some one day my child will have a kid with a white woman. When they running around talking that shit, motherfuckers ain't spending no money. They sitting back and watching their money work. Now, these motherfuckers gotta go in their pockets. They out here writing fucking checks. They writing IOUs. These motherfuckers is spending every nickel, quarter, penny they can get just so they can stop certified black society from being on code. So you know what that means? That means certified black society's on code. And not only that, that means that the code that we have is undefeated. Think about it this way. Our code is undefeated while the diaspora runs around all day being defeated. That's the difference between us and them. So this is why the dominant society makes phone calls to all these tethers, whether it be in movies, whether it be out here in the HBCUs that you're starting to see are 99% non-FBA. This is why they make these phone calls all across the board so they can try to bring in replacements. As I said, everybody who comes to this country, they are coming to assimilate with supremacy and they're coming to replace foundational black American. And we've been G-checking them one by one. That's why we've created the term tether, which is the most significant term that's being used right now. Non-FBA tether is a beautiful word. It's a beautiful combination of words because it allows us to see who's on our side and who isn't. That's what it do, because we know we've always been infiltrated. But see, back in the day, they used to have to infiltrate us with the coons. That's who they used to have to use. Now they're trying to bring in outside sources and then put them in and say, we all brothers, flat blackness, come home, brother. Those type of terms. All that is camouflage opposition. These are ops out here. And now we're identifying the foreign ops. You know how they say all enemies foreign and domestic? Well, we've been G-checking the motherfuckers domestically. So now we've been G-checking these motherfuckers who are foreign. We done took our show on the road. So all that flat blackness, we all brothers, you being divisive, come home, brother. All those are terms that are used by potential replacements for foundational black Americans. That's the only reason they say them. Y'all know goddamn well it ain't no we being divisive because they don't feel connected to us anyway. That's why they throw around the term Makata and all the other slurs they use. So that's a bullshit reason. And y'all know all that come home, brother. You know these motherfuckers don't want us to come home because our home is right here. How the hell I'm gonna go home to some shit I ain't never been to?
I'm not an African American. I'm an American. I was born on American soil. But I did go back to the motherland, and I love it. And made millions going back to the motherland. But I was born in America when the Europeans came to the Native Americans, well, they like to call them Native Americans, but the Indians' land. We don't call them European Americans. So I don't want to be called an African American. I'm an American. You know what I'm saying? You can call me a black American, but I'm an American. When I competed in the Olympics, they didn't say fighting an African American. They said that American that's fighting out of the red corner or out the blue corner. I'm not an African.
And by the way, the Dahomey tribe and the Woman King, and we're going to get to that in a minute. We know these motherfuckers sold us any goddamn way. So that cancels that bullshit. And all of that, we all black. No, because y'all motherfuckers was never claiming black. Newsflash to the world. The diaspora never said they were black until recently. Basically, them claiming blackness went hand in hand with us claiming reparations. Let's say that one more motherfucking time. The diaspora claiming that they were black came the same motherfucking day, the same hour, the same minute, the same second that foundational black Americans started claiming reparations. So you know it's all a money play. That's all that shit is. And this is why we don't respect it. This is why we don't rock with that shit. So they use these terms so they could infiltrate us. It's the same exact way how domestic sellouts were saying Black Lives Matter. You feel me? Or they were saying no justice, no peace, power to the people in the 70s. Back in the 1970s, they would send in a bunch of domestic sellouts and they would say things like power to the people, my brother. And then they would infiltrate the Black Panther Party, William O'Neill. This is what would happen. Or just recently, they would go to Ferguson and they would tell all of our brothers and sisters who were putting in that real work on the ground, they would say, Black Lives Matter, my brother. And then they would allow them to come in and they would infiltrate from the inside. Those were the domestic sellouts. Shit, you can go all the way back to slavery. When the house Negro would come around the field Negroes and talk all that, we all black shit. And he would do that just so he can get your ass to continue to pick cotton while he went upstairs and he hung out with Massa. Malcolm X was talking about that. So we all know what it is. That's how the domestic sellouts work. Let's talk about how the diaspora sellouts work. They start using different terms. They're not saying Black Lives Matter. Y'all notice that shit? They weren't around here all day long and talk about we all black. They don't never say Black Lives Matter because that is the term used by an American sellout. The diaspora sellout, he says, we all black, brother. He don't say power to the people. He says, you's being divisive, brother. These are the terms that they use to come on over here. Also, that's just the diaspora. Then you have these other tethers who come in and they say things like black and brown, minority, people of color, biop, all these other motherfucking terms that they use are just terms that allows a foreign tether to infiltrate us. When you start dealing with a sellout, when you start dealing with the tethers have their own language. All right, that's why I always say they be talking through their tether ass teeth. All right, they speaking out their tether ass tongues. They got a whole language that is completely created just so they can infiltrate foundational black Americans, so they can get what's ours and they can erase our culture. That's why you see Fat Joe running around here. That's why you see all these motherfuckers talking about something. We co-created your culture. No, the fuck you didn't. This is all a play so they can erase foundational black Americans. That is the whole system that they're running right now. And that's why we got to be very, very serious. We got to be very, very concise about people trying to play with our culture. My culture ain't to be played with. I'm gonna tell you that today. I don't give a damn who it is. If you a British actor, basically, talking about Whitney Houston, then you better show some respect talking about Whitney Houston. We're not playing these folks coming around here and trying to perpetrate these roles of foundational black Americans and put a damn tether twist on it. All right, we're not having that. You're going to represent our culture properly. That's what is going to be done. And if you do not, you're going to get checked. Everybody wants to say, y'all just mean and it ain't that big of a deal. Always watch out in your life. I'm not just talking about politically. I'm talking about in your personal life. Be very cautious of the person who's always telling you it ain't that big of a deal. You know why they're telling you that? Because they want you to think it's a small deal, so they ass has an easier job of stealing from you. I would never come to somebody and tell them it ain't that big of a deal. You know what I'm gonna say? Shit, if it's big to you, then it's big to you. Who am I to judge? Who am I to say that? I don't go around in my life and tell people it ain't that big of a deal. I say, listen, you gonna handle it the way you wanna handle it as an adult, and I'm gonna handle it the way I want to handle it as an adult. We're not talking to kids. So anybody who comes around and tells us that we just being too sensitive, because remember, the dominant society has always told us we're being ultra sensitive. They said this shit when black folks was getting lynched. They were saying, y'all just taking this too serious now. It's just a rope. You feel me? It's just cotton. That's the same shit. Ain't that basically get over slavery? It's the same exact thing, so you know where it's coming from. It's the same exact thing, so you know who the perpetrator is. The very fact that you're starting to hear tethers speak their version of what the dominant society has always said to us, then that lets you know that the orders are coming from the dominant society.
I need people to understand that one of the reasons that Jamaicans and other African diaspora people react to African Americans and talk about African Americans in the way they do is because this was taught to us. This is part of what I'm studying now in my graduate program. When they first started to recruit people to come to work here, right, about 5 or 6 decades ago, they told them that the African Americans were lazy people and they did not want to work. Meanwhile, at that time, it was because they didn't want to pay African Americans more money. They wanted to give them slavery wages. But African Americans were trying to hold out for more pay. Instead of paying African Americans more, what they did was recruit black people from the Caribbean, at that time controlled by Britain. So it was very easy for them to convince Britain that, hey, send those people who are down there with no jobs to our country to work.
Didn't I say that? I said it straight up. I said they recruit them. She said recruit. I said they get that talk and that agreement to come over here and replace us. She said they get that talk and that agreement. One more time, straight from the top. They're picking up that goddamn phone, they're making these goddamn calls, and then the tethers are doing their tether duty. And all of that is an attempt to erase foundational black American culture, erase foundational black American lineage. And if somebody can erase your culture and they can erase your lineage, then they can erase you. That's why we're not taking it lightly. That's why we ain't hearing no motherfucker telling us it ain't that big of a deal. No, it's whatever the fuck we say it is. And I'm glad we're in the whatever the fuck we say it is era, because when we was in a what Master says, what the diaspora says, what Pan-Africanism says, that shit did not work for us. That set us up for the failure. That's why we've been having to go around G-check and circle our wagons so we can correct all that bullshit. It's all about what we say. If FBA thinks it, that's what it is. If FBA says it, that's what it is. If FBA makes that move, that's what the fuck it is. It's for us, by us, only us. No trespassers. That's how I live. That's how the family lives. And that's how we got to continue to live. So no, we do not take our culture lightly. An attack on hip hop is an attack on our culture because we created hip hop. An attack on our ancestors is an attack on us because we are our ancestors. All of this is combined. They spent, as I said, billions of dollars trying to get us to be separated. They want to separate the black man and the black woman because that makes it easy for them to erase our culture. They want to separate the youth from the elders because that makes it easier for them to erase our culture. They want to separate us from our lineage because that makes it easy for them to erase our culture. And like I just said, if they can erase your culture, they can erase you. That's why you have to gatekeep your culture. I don't give a damn if it's hip hop as a whole or if it's one fucking rap song. Make sure you gatekeep it because you see what these people do. They don't have respect. Understand that. These folks don't have no respect. Name me one tether that has ever came over here and respected us right now or ever respected our ancestors. Do they come over here and do they praise the slaves that made this country great? Or do they disrespect the slaves? They disrespect them. Do they ever come over here and talk about our ancestors and our elders in the civil rights era that paved the way for them to even come to this country, that created every piece of legislation that allows foreigners to come in? No. How many times you ever seen the tether talk about Malcolm X? Or talk about Martin Luther King, or talk about H. Rap Brown, or talk about Huey Newton and Bobby Seale, all the brothers and sisters, and not just the famous ones. I'm talking about the ones that were putting in the groundwork on a day-to-day. A lot of our family members contributed. The same way that we're contributing to this era right now, we got a lot of brothers and sisters who had aunts, uncles, grandparents, mothers, sisters, fathers, brothers that were part of the civil rights era, that was out here in the streets getting water hose sprayed at them, dogs sicked on them and hit across the head with billy clubs just so tethers could come to this country. It wasn't just the superstars. It wasn't just the ones they make movies about. It was the day-to-day brothers and sisters. You seen it. We got the pictures. When you see those pictures of black folks out there getting assaulted by race soldiers, that wasn't the superstars. That was your day-to-day average black person. Rank and file. The rank and file was out here putting in that work. We got a lot of them right now listening right now that were really out there putting it in. I'm talking about brothers and sisters in their 70s and their 60s and their 50s that really knew what it was like to face the civil rights era and to create these legislations that allow everybody to come over here. Do any of these outside groups come over here to assist us? Do any of these outside groups come over here to respect us? And have you seen one tether ever come to the United States of America, the country that our ancestors built? Have you seen any of them ever come over here and show love and just give a simple thank you? It takes 2 seconds to say a 2-word statement. Thank you. You ain't even got to say foundational black American. You ain't got to say freedmen because we know who you talking about. Do they ever come over here and have you ever heard them say, thank you for paving the way? Thank you, foundational black Americans, for everything you've been through to create this country, to create legislations and laws that make this a non-FBA world that we love to live in, that we love to benefit off of. Ain't it funny how we sit here and we talk about how the dominant society, they still benefit off of slavery? Well, guess what? The tethers benefit off of slavery. The tethers benefit off the civil rights era, and both the motherfuckers is what my ancestors created. And we ain't got a goddamn thank you. But I'll tell you what we get. Black and brown coalition. They'll fix their lips to say that, but I'll tell you what we get. We all minorities. They'll fix their lips to say that, but I'll tell you what we get. You being divisive. They'll fix their lips to say that. We're in this together. They'll fix their lips to say all of that, but they don't fix their lips to say thank you. And that shows you what type of time they on, and that shows you exactly why FBA been regulating their motherfucking ass. And that's why we're going to continue to do that. Because they all come to America not to assist, not to show love, not to praise the people that allow them to do it. They all come to America to stand next to the dominant society because half the time in their homelands, they either think they're the dominant society or they want to be the dominant society. And they bring that anti-blackness right here. All they do is immigrate and they transmit anti-blackness from one border to the next. That is it. And the dominant society sits back and plays it all out exactly how they planned it. That is the strategy to replace foundational black Americans. They don't mind having people of color in America as long as them people of color ain't foundational black Americans. Oh, they don't mind having some black folks here. No, they don't mind that shit. No, they don't mind having black folks as long as them black folks ain't FBA. Because as we know that we different, oh, trust me, the dominant society knows we different. Let me put it like this on the line. The dominant society knows the black folks, they can get away with that bullshit, and then they know the black folks, they can't get away with that bullshit. The whole goddamn planet knows that. How do you know? It's because when you see people come to this country, they try to treat us like they treat the diaspora. They say, oh, wait a minute now. The black folks in my homeland are docile, are submissive. We have domain over them. And then when they come over here, they say these FBAs don't go for that shit. I can't pull what I pulled over in my homeland on these black folks here. So there's a clear distinction. Oh, believe we ain't the only folks who know foundational black Americans hit different. We ain't the only ones who know foundational black Americans hit hard. We ain't the only ones who know foundational black Americans don't go for that bullshit. They know it. Every single person who comes to this country understands that these black folks, foundationals, are completely separate thought, mind, and action than everybody else. So therefore, they get into cahoots with the dominant society to play that role replacement. The dominant society is looking at it like this. I whooped these folks in the diaspora on their homeland. So why don't I take some of these folks who got their ass whooped and they're docile on their homeland, bring them over here to America and replace the FBA with them? Now we got a whole country full of black folks who don't fight back. And the main dream of the dominant society is to have black folks who don't fight back, because these black folks right here, freedmen, who do fight back, have been the 500-year thorn in the side of supremacy. We are the only people who talk about ending the system of supremacy and replacing it with a system of justice. Hell, we're the only black folks who even use the term supremacy. Have you ever heard any of these tethers use the term supremacy? Y'all hear them all the time talk about we's all black now. You hear them all the time talk about black and brown coalitions. Have you ever once heard them fix their lips and utter the words supremacy? No. So they don't use the term supremacy. They don't thank foundational black Americans for fighting supremacy. So that right there in itself shows you that they are minions of supremacy, and the dominant society has brought them here so they can replace foundational black Americans. That is exactly what it is. Replace the certifieds with the counterfeits. Then they can have a whole goddamn country of black folks that they can utilize them the same way they utilize them in Nigeria, in Jamaica, all across the Commonwealth. They want Commonwealth black folks here in America. That's what it is, family. They want the same colonized thought process that the Commonwealth has. They want to take them people, put them on planes, and put them right here in America and push us out. So they'll say, we got all the black folks. Yeah, we do. We's not bad. We not racist. Look, we got black folks, but they not the black folks like foundational black Americans. See the difference? So this is why you start to see this play of trying to erase our culture, trying to say that other people did things that the whole world knows goddamn well we did. This is what I'm talking about, an ethnocide. A complete ethnocide, and we're watching it play itself out day to day. Every time you turn on the TV, every time you watch your timeline, you see somebody else trying to erase or replace foundational black Americans because our culture is under complete attack. But the best thing about everything that we're doing is, family, we see it happening. And once we see it happening, we do something about it. And that's why I love the whole family tree, because we don't sit back and just see things go on. We're not watchers, okay? We're people of action. And our action is pulling up and stopping this shit before it becomes an issue. We don't let it fester. Fuck no. We go and make something happen. So when you start talking about this attempt to erase foundational black Americans, this attempt to replace foundational black Americans, you got to understand, it's just like slavery. They want a collection of off-code, easy, weak black slaves. That's what they want. They don't want the black folks who's out here doing it for real. That's their dream. They want this shit to be easy. And when they fly in everybody from all these other countries, and look who's pushing it now. You're seeing the Democratic Party are the main ones who push immigration on people. The same party that black folks give 90+% of their vote over and over and over, blind and blind and blind, for years and years and years, is the same party that is facilitating the replacement of foundational black Americans. And they don't say a goddamn thing. Who is the party that ties us in with every other group on the planet? Who is the party that elevates them above us? Who is the party that tries to bury us under immigration? The Democratic Party, which happens to be the same party that all of these folks go and vote for blindly. So the crazy part about it, the whole clusterfuck of the situation is when black folks go stand in the rain for hours, in the rain, sleet, hail, and snow, to go place a vote for the Democratic Party, and in return, the Democratic Party goes and seeks out other people to replace your ass. See what I'm talking about? Someone phrased it to me like this. It's basically, for anybody who's been in the corporate world, it's training your replacement. A new recruit comes in, somebody fresh out of college, and a black person who's been working at a job for 30 years, been the model citizen, been the best employee ever. I'm talking about employee of the month every goddamn month. And once they can find somebody that can take your job, they don't just give them your job, they make you train them. So you'll have a black person training somebody on the job for 6 months. And in that 6 months, he will replace you, even though you've been working there for 35 years. And the only thing you get is a pink slip. That's what they want us to do. They want us to train our replacements. They want us to give them all of our legacy. They want us to give them all of our accomplishments, all of our wealth, hand it over. And eventually we can walk out that door with the pink slip and then they can take our place. So basically they can pay them less for the same job. Because these people are okay with getting paid less. These people are fine with getting everything less as long as they can be next to the dominant society. See, we demand things. Tethers don't, all right? Their payment is just being next to Zaddy. We don't give a fuck about Zaddy. What they do, they run to Zaddy. We tell the motherfuckers, run the check. You see the difference? And how do you know we demand things? Because remember, we're not saying, please give us our reparations. We're not saying, can you, Mr. Master, cut the check for us? We saying, cut the check. No reparations, no vote. No tangibles, no vote. We making things crystal clear. Your ass better do it. And that's another difference between us and everyone else. We don't ask, they do. Matter of fact, they fight more for our reparations than they fight for their own reparations. Think about that. Do you guys see Tethers fight more against us so they can include themselves with our reparations money? Or do you see them fighting more for themselves so they can get their own reparations checked? Let me tell you this. Everybody in the diaspora has a right to reparations. Do you see any of them fight for the right for reparations? Or do you see them fighting us for our goddamn money? Think about that one more time. Let's put that out there for real. The whole diaspora has been colonized. Half of them are still colonized today. They can all go get reparations. Right now, while they're out there crying over the queen, they could be going to get a reparations claim. While they out here bleaching their skin and swimming in fucking cake soap, they can be going to get their reparations claim. So you see the diaspora fight more for our reparations money than they fight for their own goddamn money. Don't that tell you the difference? That is the difference between a freedman and a fleer. We build, they steal. So don't worry about fighting me. Don't come sit on my goddamn reparations panel. Go get your own reparations panel. You're entitled to do it. You can go get money right now from any of the fucking United Kingdoms, France, everybody. You can go get your money. So why your ass over here in America trying to get my goddamn money? You weren't out here in the South picking cotton. You weren't doing none of that shit. So quit worrying about my dollar bill and go get your own. You might be something. And you know one of the reasons why they don't fight for reparations? First off, because they some jealous ass people and they can't stand that foundational black Americans are the greatest. That's what they cannot stand. But second off, they don't want to ask for reparations because that means that you'd have to upset Zaddy. They don't want to do that. Fuck no. They'd rather just try to weasel in on our reparations because it's easier and they wouldn't have to upset Massa. That's what it's really about. They don't want to upset Zaddy. See, if they go ask Zaddy for money, they're going to be mad. That's going to be on some pops want me to ask for my bike back. You know I wouldn't even trip. It'd be both the balls. I just keep it in my house. They on that type of shit. They don't come up and say, cut the fucking check. That's what we say. Everything we do is more blatant. Everything we do is more pure. Everything we do is more we don't give a fuck. Run our money. It's about us. They don't think for self. They think for everyone else. And once again, that is another reason why we gonna get to the bag and they're not. So remember this, when it comes to getting reparations, we fight for our money and they fight us for our money too. Only difference is we gonna get the bag and they ain't gonna get a goddamn thing. That right there is another Black Alpha Network exclusive. You only gonna hear that right here. Keep it pushing. Don't be surprised in 50 years if they try to tell us every single thing we created was somebody else. Hell, they're doing it now. The only thing stopping them is the black grassroots. Imagine if the black grassroots wasn't here. If the black grassroots wasn't here to prevent this shit, it'd be way out of control. Anytime you see a problem, imagine if the black grassroots was not present. That problem would be a million times worse. So you talk about immigration. You talk about people being elevated above us. You talk about the black and browns and the diasporas and the flat blackness. Imagine if FBA certified freedmen were not here to regulate all that shit. It'd be out of control. And that's exactly what they want. They want it to be out of control. So it is on us to continue to keep G-checking and pulling paperwork and disallowing the bullshit from going on. Because like I told you, every time somebody comes into this country, they're coming here to replace us. They're not coming here to join us. They're not coming over here to fight supremacy with us. They're not coming over here to stand side by side with us. As a matter of fact, they want to stand across the fucking street. Nobody comes to America and wants to stand next to Jerome and Shanika. They want to come over here and stand next to Karen and Ken and Bob and Sally. That's what the fuck they want. Because deep down inside, they want to be W's their goddamn self. When a woman comes over to America, she wants to be a Karen. I don't give a fuck where she came from. I don't give a fuck what her homeland is. She watches Karen on TV and wants to act like, walk like Karen, and she feels coming over here, she can be Karen. So you got to look at this. Immigration is like the NFL draft. All right, it's like the fucking draft. You ever watch the NFL, the draft? You ever watch basketball, the draft? The dominant society is drafting new recruits from all different homelands across the world they can pick from. Yep, that's what they're doing. The first pick in the draft is whoever the fuck from wherever the fuck, and we're going to bring them over here, and we're going to have them be our new model minority. That's where all that model minority shit comes from. Where do you think it comes from? They've been saying model minority since the 1950s. Model minority just means replacement for foundational black Americans. That's all the fucking means. That's all it means. This is why you see an ethnocide of people trying to erase our culture. They're coming over here with no culture. They're coming over here with no accomplishments. So the first thing they say is, how can we get it from FBA? Trust me, as I said, they get off that goddamn plane with no culture in an empty motherfucking suitcase. And then they start saying, where can we get it from? Oh, foundational black Americans, they got this reparations thing going. Maybe we can get their money. Oh, foundational black Americans have this historic presence here. Maybe we could say it was really us. I mean, you got people saying that they did things our ancestors done when they weren't even in the country at the time. I mean, it's documented. It ain't even some shit we got to figure out. A motherfucker wasn't even in the country and they saying, well, we did that. How you do that when you weren't here? Like I said before, either these people were not here or these people were here and sat shit out. They all watched what we went through. I told you, the world is watching us. How you know the world is watching us? Because the world act like us. So they're not just walking like us, talking like us, doing our rap songs. Everybody thinks it's about hip hop and shit. It ain't just about hip hop. They want every iota of foundational black American legacy. They want to walk like us during the revolution, during the riots, during the protests. They want to act like Martin Luther King. They want to act like Malcolm X. They want to act like the Black Panthers, but they don't have that soul in them. So they come and they try to steal it from us. And that's what I'm talking about. The dominant society sits back and they say, we draft him to come on over here. They hand select people. See, back in the old days, the dominant society used to scour the whole world so they could find new places that they could colonize. Now, the dominant society try to find new people that they could bring here to replace us. Oh yeah, colonization in the 21st century isn't just going and conquering someone's land. It's conquering their land and then bringing the conquered people here so they could be good workers for you. And that's exactly what they are. They're just good workers. All these people that you see come in, they're just good workers. When they get off that boat and Joe Biden says we're going to give you all this money, when they're going to drop them off in Martha's Vineyard, when they're getting free bus rides and, as I said, Airbnbs and money, and they're getting paper stacks just for coming here, and they're getting DACA and they're getting all that, that's because they have to be good workers. See, they have an arrangement with all these people. They have, we can send your ass home, so you're going to do what the fuck we tell you to do. Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. Their job is to stand away from foundational black Americans. Stand over there. Do not rock with us. That's why at the immigration office, all these people always get to talk. They always get the speech. They don't tell these groups not to hang out with each other. They don't tell these groups not to hang out with them. No, they go out their way and tell those groups, stay away from the black folks. And if you don't believe me, there's literally documentation of people on the internet saying it. They say, yeah, when I first came here, they told us to stay away from black folks. They all criminals. Because their job isn't to come stand next to us. The job is to come here to replace us. The dominant society can get done whatever they want done, okay? So when you see them giving out benefits to every foreigner outside the U.S., they're doing that on purpose. That shows you what they want. Believe what you see. There's telltale signs, trust me. They understand that. They understand that these replacements are much easier to control than the originals. We're the originals. We're the originators. They can't control us. So you know goddamn well can't nobody do nothing to foundational black Americans. So they say, if we can't do nothing to foundational black Americans, let's get somebody else. What's the old saying? You can't beat them, join them? Well, their thoughts is, since we can't beat them, let's try to replace them. That's what it is. They got to go bring in recruits and new motherfuckers that they can stand next to. See, FBA, back in the old days, they used to think that all these minorities who came in the country were going to be our reinforcements. No, those people are reinforcements for the dominant society. One more time for your motherfucking mind. Black folks used to think, oh, them African brothers are coming over here. They're going to be our reinforcements to help us in the fight against supremacy. Come to find out, they were reinforcements to help white supremacy against us. We start thinking, hey, here come all my Caribbean brothers. They're coming over here to be reinforcements so they can help foundational black Americans against supremacy. Then you came to find out that they came over here so they could be reinforcements to help supremacy. Same thing with the black and brown, same thing, so forth. You go down the list. Everybody that we thought was going to be reinforcements to help us, we found out they were reinforcements to help them. And how do they do that? They do that by working with and facilitating all the little trick bags that the dominant society comes up with, because the dominant society wants to see FBA gone, because the dominant society knows we are the only ones who bring them that goddamn smoke. And here's another issue. We have history here. They don't. Foundational Black Americans are the only non-immigrants in this country. The only. Not 2, 3, 4, 5. One. We're the only group that did not come here as an immigrant. We are indigenous to this country. It is shown, it is proven, it is known. We are the non-deportable, and that's what they cannot stand. So if you can't deport somebody, and they were here before your ass was here, what you gonna do? Oh, not to mention, we built all this whole country in our part-time, through oppression in our part-time, maintain and sustain our greatness in our part-time. What the fuck you gonna do about that? There ain't a goddamn thing you could do about it, but accept it. You see, all these other groups, they have to fulfill their duties. And that is an unspoken duty when they come to the United States. Their unspoken duty is to go against foundational Black Americans. And if they don't, they'll get their asses sent back home. All these foreigners got orders. All right, they all take orders from the dominant society. The same way the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, all the motherfuckers got orders to take. Same way with these trolls and these tethers. They got a fucking job to do. They don't just come here and be like, huh, what? No, they understand. On that list of orders, they better fulfill them. And if their asses do not fulfill them, their asses going to be on that first thing smoking back home. And that is, as I said, to stand away from foundational Black Americans and for them to attempt to try to take what's ours. And that's the difference between a freedman and a fleer. As I say, freedmen's build, fleer still. And stealing is exactly the first element of trying to erase someone else's culture. So when you put those all together, you see what you get. They use their victim status against us as well. We got to be real careful of that. You see, once again, as we thought these people were our friends, they knew that we thought that shit. So they would come to us and be like, man, I'm your friend. I'm your brother. We all fight supremacy. And since we think that all victims of supremacy are allies with us against supremacy, we would fall for that shit. So they would always use their victim card, their victim status, as a means to infiltrate us. It was camouflage. As I say, it's like a fake ID. They could flash that motherfucker and walk right on in. So you got to be real cautious, family, of people who tell you, we go through it too. That's how they want our reparations right now.
My question is, it seems that we're always dealing with the symptoms of the problems instead of the bigger issues. And it seems that's one of the issues that could kind of fix all the issues is talking about reparations. And we don't talk about reparations enough in this country. And the last that I checked, the House had gotten the HB 40 past committee. And as far as I can tell, that's where it stopped. And I know you're in the Senate, so I'm not sure what you can do about that. But I did just wonder what you could do to further that cause in America right now.
So there is a bill to study the issue of reparations. Here's what I'm for: equity and opportunity. And I wake up every day fighting for that. And I do it in such a way that I think benefits all of us.
There goes that all of us talk. He talked about foundational Black Americans, and the answer was all of us. It's always somebody else other than us specifically. If he was talking about other groups, he'd say them by name. He don't do that for us, though. With us is everybody. You see? These people never acknowledge supremacy or wrongdoings from supremacy until it's time to get our money. So be very cautious of these people who use their victim status as a means to get what belongs to foundational Black Americans. All victims are not created equal. You got one victim who gets his ass whooped and he likes it. You got another motherfucker who says you ain't gonna touch me or you gonna have problems. Foundational Black Americans, we on the you ain't gonna touch me or you gonna have problems side. And we've been like that since day number one. We didn't get to that. We didn't grow into that. We didn't learn that. We came out the womb swinging back. Our hands been getting it in. And that's the difference between us and them. So be very cautious of folks who use their victim status against us. You see it all the time. That is just another element for these folks to try to replace us. Make us drop our guard and come on in. And that's what it is. All these terms are terms created for us to drop our guard. Black and brown coalition, minority, flat blackness. These are just terms to come on in and steal our shit. That's why we've countered that shit with terms like Tether, non-FBA, pulling paperwork, gatekeeping, circling our wagons. These are all our reactions to the bullshit that they thrown at us. Every action has a reaction. There's always a cause and effect. And that's what it is right now today, is that we actually have counters for all this shit. Y'all know back in the old days, they had no response. Any trick bag that was thrown at them, they'd take that shit and just roll with it. We got terminologies, words, and everything to frame this shit. And once your ass is framed and put on that big motherfucking screen, there ain't no running, ain't no hiding. That's why now you starting to see a lot of these tether groups team up. This proves our point again that these folks all have the agenda of trying to come down on foundational black Americans. So not only do you have the dominant society who gives the orders, now you have these tethers teaming up. See, they thought they were going to all come over here individually and they would all just chip away at us and eventually, you know, we would fold. I mean, if you think foundational black Americans is going to fold, you better get your motherfucking refund because we don't fold for nothing. As a matter of fact, we make motherfuckers fold. And that's the motherfucking real deal. But everybody thought that they was going to come over here, chip away at us and just kind of wear us down. Eventually, we start wearing they ass down. Because you understand, foundational black Americans, we could take 6-7 motherfuckers at the same goddamn time. I wish a motherfucker would. So now you're starting to see this group and that group team up. They're making little super PACs. Group A and Group B together as one. Group A and Group B super PAC for, you know, political benefits. This is the shit you seeing. You seeing it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Put the names however you want to put the names. You can put this group and this group together, that group and that group together, all the motherfuckers together. But that's what's happening. They're all trying to team up on foundational black Americans. It's like the fucking Tether Alliance. Hell, we had the FBA United Space, which did 4.3 thousand views, by the way. That's just on Twitter. Did another couple thousand on my channel. Either way, as soon as we had the FBA United Space, they literally had a Tether United Space. I'm not lying, fam. This is how real it is in these streets. Foundational black Americans are so on cold, we making tethers come together. These motherfuckers come from 2 different homelands. Hell, they don't even get along with each other in their own homelands. Ain't that the shit? These motherfuckers have a backstabbing culture in their own homelands, but all of a sudden, when they come here and they try to replace foundational black Americans, then they team up. Then all of a sudden, all that backdoor, backhanded, backstabbing shit go out the window and they want to be friends with each other. They'll never come over here and be cool with us, but they'll be cool with one another if it means trying to harm foundational black Americans. And that's what we always say. You have to look at the dominant society minions is just an extension of the dominant society. And this is what we're doing right now with this era, with this time, with this lineage. We are looking at anybody who serves the dominant society. I don't give a fuck in which shape or form. We're looking at them as an op. It's either you family or you an op. That's it. That's it. Just cut and dry. There's no playing no more. All right, we don't have the time to be joking around and fucking around with these people. Everybody out here who has op energy is getting treated like an op until further notice. And foundational black Americans, we real thorough with our shit. So it's no complex thing. We understand when you about that bullshit, you're gonna get called out on it. We don't fuck up. We don't make mistakes. All that, well, y'all just need to listen now. And everybody tries to opinionize what we do. They always try to make our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions something based on opinion. This ain't opinion. Be very cautious of the people who come around us and always say we just need to hear the other side. We need to do a little more research. We need to figure it out. The person who always comes to foundational black Americans and tries to opinionize our thoughts is someone who's trying to knock us off course. That's what it really the fuck is. And it's just camouflage. Because again, nobody's ever going to come at us directly because they know better. So what they do is they try to opinionize everything we do. They try to make us think that, you know, we just don't have it figured out. And if we just listen to them, we'll get it right because they got all the answers. Fuck that. Things we deal with, things we go through is not based on opinion. I want y'all to notice this as well. In life, the person who's always throwing around the term opinion is usually the most ignorant motherfucker. All right. Intelligent people who have thoughts, beliefs, and they have an understanding, they don't have opinions on everything. Your opinion is for what food you like. All right. Your opinions is for what drink you like. Your opinion is not about my ancestors building this goddamn country. That is evidentiary, solidified fact. Real intelligent people, we have guarantees, which means we know what it is. Ignorant people have opinions all fucking day long. They never have anything hard to stand on. They don't never have anything that they can truly go for, so they just say opinion. The term opinion is always used to either downplay the truth or to legitimize ignorance. And this is what we see all the time. People trying to legitimize their own ignorance. But that shit ain't working when it comes to foundational black Americans because we know what they're doing, we know what they're up to, and we know that shit ain't gonna fly. See, what they're trying to do, family, is they're trying to wipe us out. That's the strategy, is to wipe us out. I was talking to a sister on the Twitter space not too long ago, and she was going off. She was hot. She was telling everybody they're trying to use their skin color. They're trying to use their victim status to replace us. And we have to be very concise with our verbiage. We have to be very concise with our knowledge. And we have to be very concise with our actions. This is how we're going to stop and prevent this ethnocide that everybody knows is happening. This is how we're going to send these motherfuckers back to their homelands, by being very, very on code and being very, very accurate with everything that we do. Attention to detail. Gotta have attention to detail because, as I say, their strategy is to wipe us out in the most subtle ways. The most subtle ways. They'll even do it in the obvious ways because remember, the dominant society needs everybody to play a job. You need the overt and the covert. They want to make sure every single action is covered. So you're going to see a lot of little things. When you look at them commercials and they got all that interracial stuff, why do you think they're doing that? You think it's because they woke up yesterday and they genuinely want to marry black folks? They genuinely want to date black folks? They genuinely want to have families with black folks? You think that's why you see all these interracial commercials that they never had before? Or do they do that so they can create a rift between the black man and the black woman? They can create a rift between the black family. Because in essence, separating the black family is the quickest way to erasing our culture. This is why you see it. Ladies and gentlemen, the black family is under assault more than it's ever been. You got to see it in movies. You got to see it in political campaigns. Hell, they do it in commercials. You'll see a damn movie on TV and they'll be trying to separate the black family. And then the goddamn commercials in between the movies are trying to separate the black family. There is an agenda out here 24/7. They put out that movie Woman King, right? Where they're basically saying sisters don't need brothers. And then they try to masculate our women. Then at the same time, they try to feminize our men. These are things, so they're basically saying, let's keep him over there and her over there. Now, the same people who promote this stuff, they're going to go home to their husband and wives. They're going to go home to their kids. They're going to live a Brady Bunch life. But they want to see us separate. That's why the Woman King, there were a bunch of W's who wrote that fucking movie. And by the way, that movie flopped. That movie probably has about 7, 8 different agendas in it. And every one of those 7 to 8 different agendas is anti-foundational black American. Just like a bunch of W's write all these movies. You see it coming out now with the new Black Panther movie. All the shit I'm hearing about that fucking movie has complete anti-black family agenda all in it. And we're the only people they put this on. You don't ever see them trying to push other agendas on these other groups. Fuck to the no. The same groups that they say we all family, they don't ever try to separate their families. They only do this to us. And the more we're on code and the more we represent, the more desperate they become. They wanted that Woman King movie to be the greatest movie of all time and for us to just bow the fuck down and accept it. That's what they wanted. But black folks wouldn't fuck with that shit. My certified sister said, hell no. My certified brother said, hell no. And that movie flipped, and it ain't rocket science. See, they can run all the propaganda and all the games and try to just tell us that the movie was so great and try to tell us how big it was. Man, no, the fuck it wasn't. That movie took like $50 to fucking $70 million to make, and that shit only made 19 the first weekend. The second weekend, that motherfucker made about 5. All right, that's what we call a flop, and everybody knows it. So they got to call up all these celebrities. They're coming out here talking about I rented out a goddamn movie theater to go see it. Some shit, SZA or whatever fucking name is. That clown. She made a whole fucking thing talking about she rented out a theater so everybody can see it. That's about the only way a motherfucker is going to go see that movie. You got to go rent the goddamn theater out. And motherfucker shit was probably still empty. So she need to go get her goddamn coon refund for that motherfucker, okay? She can sing a song about I coon trying to make this movie big and me and that goddamn movie flopped. Write that down. So this is what I'm talking about. These are the agendas that they see. And you always see Hollywood is the main ones trying to push it. These things are the same. This is why we say it's coming at us from every single angle. This ain't no small time shit. This is major. This is what I was talking about in the very beginning. Trying to replace and erase foundational black American lineage, culture, and heritage is the #1 priority of the dominant society because we are the #1 thorn in their side. That is why it is. They're running around here saying immigrants built America. Y'all remember that?
Don't ever forget that immigrants built the United States of America. Ever forget that immigrants built the United States of America. Ever forget that immigrants built the United States of America. Ever forget that immigrants built the United States of America.
See what I'm talking about? Now, Donald Trump, he personally said that foundational black Americans built the country. And then he followed that up by saying, and we don't get the credit for it. And what they do, they said, get his ass out of here. We don't want to hear that. Joe Biden, the same person black folks voted for, he said, nope, immigrants built this. He said it's a nation of immigrants. As a matter of fact, they asked Joe Biden about reparations for black people, and he pivoted to talking about reparations for everybody else and how immigrants built the country, and this is a nation of immigrants.
The reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of 100 children in our school today is Hispanic, The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America, and we should invest in them. Everybody will benefit from it, every single American, and you should get used to it. This is a nation of immigrants. That's who we are. That's why we're who we are. That's what makes us different.
This shows you again, these are the things we were seeing as the wheels were rolling. We started to watch how they would slowly slide in everybody else. You ask them about foundational black Americans, they'll start talking about minorities. You ask them about foundational black Americans, they'll start talking about POC. They literally pivot to those tether terms immediately whenever pressed about us. We're the only group of people who can never have things specifically done for. And they'll tell us, I mean, they weren't even hiding it. They were just coming out here saying, nope, can't do it. Nope, won't do it. Not gonna do it. And then we sat back and watched them do it for everybody else. They're trying to wipe us out. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Look at the way they turn us in to all these tethers whenever there's a crime. Whenever there's a crime, they'll say a black person did it. They don't separate who did it. It's black with no context, right? Y'all notice that shit? Let a black person be on the 11 o'clock news and you come to find out these motherfuckers ain't even FBA. Up there in New York, all them folks creating all those crimes are non-FBA black folks. But they don't never say that. They don't tell you what homeland these people are from. They just say black. So they can put the blame on us. So everybody thinks, there go them FBAs again. But guess what? Whenever they win an award at any Emmys, y'all seen the Emmys or the Oscars or whatever the fuck it was, and they gave out all those awards, they weren't saying that those people were black. They were saying that those people were Jamaican, Nigerian. They would say they homeland loud. And the winner is whoever the fuck, a Jamaican American. A Nigerian American. It wasn't that saying we all black that I seen on the 11 o'clock news when a goddamn non-FBA guy ran through the fucking subway and started harming people. No, when that happens, oh, we all black. They'll make sure blackity, blackity, black. But let somebody win an award. Let some of these track stars win a race. Then it's homeland American. See, it goes from black American, which makes us look bad, to homeland American. And nobody ever comes out and draws the distinction between the two of them. When we try to make the distinction between the two of them, everybody say we wrong. We wrong and divisive. You weren't divisive when you was taking that goddamn award and they were saying, yo, homeland American. You wasn't wrong when you won that goddamn race and they were saying homeland American. So when we simply say, hell no, that motherfucker on the 11 o'clock news, that wasn't no FBA. You're being divisive. We're all black. You see? See what I'm talking about? Why we ain't all black then? How come we ain't all black when you make achievements? Oh, so what the game is that all of our achievements belong to you and all of your fuck-ups belong to us. It don't goddamn work that way. FBA don't go for that. And even more so, I'm gonna tell you what we don't go for. The term African American. That's what they really upset about. Nobody had an issue when we were African Americans. Y'all remember that? When they called us African American, they loved us. They was cool. You never heard none of this, you divisive, none of that shit. Soon as we got rid of that fucking term and we started saying foundational black American, we started saying foundational black American freedmen, then the issue comes in because we're not going by the designated name that they gave to us. All those other people from all over the world, they're used to the dominant society naming them. They'll be cool with the shit. Massa gave me a good name. He calls me little boy. We don't go for that shit. We said foundational black American. You get that African American shit out of here. Elon Musk is an African American. We are foundational black Americans, and there's a difference. Once we start saying that, then everybody got an issue. Everybody got a motherfucking issue. Notice how Africans are never called African Americans. Only us. Think about that. African Americans are Africans who migrated to America. But you never call Africans who migrated to America African Americans. They never call them that. They never call them that. They call them Nigerian Americans, Congolese American, a Gambian American. It's never African American for Africans from Africa. It's only African Americans when it comes to us, people who have never been to Africa. You see what I'm talking about? Africans don't get called African Americans. They get called they homeland Americans. Foundational black Americans, they do not want to use that term because that's the term that we created. That's the term that gives us power, gives us strength. That's the term that disallows us from putting up with they bullshit. So once we rejected that term, oh, it was on. And y'all notice it's been on ever since. There's two things. When we start saying foundational black American freedmen and we start making our reparations claim, those two things go hand in hand. Shit got real. Shit done got real and we done got real right along with it. Y'all notice we ain't budged. Y'all notice that, right? We started saying foundational black Americans, everybody got mad and we stood our ground, said, yup, foundational. We'll spell that motherfucker out for you, how you want it. And then when we said, as a matter of fact, we want our reparations too. We're not asking, we're not hoping, because remember, this ain't the ask era. Black folks asked for 500 years. Can you please, master, please let me in, master, please? We don't do that shit. Fuck no. We said reparations or else. Cut the motherfucking check. No reparations, no vote. Those are definitive statements. And we stood our ground and we didn't budge. We are saying what we want. We are giving these motherfuckers all the smoke, and we ain't going no goddamn where. As I told you before in the beginning, I'm gonna give you all the issues and all the problems, but I'm gonna give you the solutions before the story starts. And the solution is foundational Black Americans gonna get ours. Foundational Black Americans gonna shine. Foundational Black Americans gonna put in that goddamn work. And ain't none of these people that got any of these issues with us gonna do a goddamn thing. I don't care if they team up. I don't care if they get out a fucking dry board, a chalkboard, a motherfucking eraser. I don't care if they say they co-contributed, they co-created our motherfucking culture. I don't care if they try to assault our lineage, our heritage. We are too big and too strong for any of these motherfuckers. The story will unfold like this. Is FBA gonna be exceptional and everybody else is gonna get in line or they gonna bow the fuck down. That's how we do things. Make sure you guys smash that like button right here. We cooking on the Black Alpha Network. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's do this as a lineage and a family tree and keep on giving them that work and let them know this FBA all day. Nothing in between. Oh, before I go, talking about nothing in between. When we talk about the fucking, what is that movie, Woman King or whatever the fuck, y'all seen how that came out. Then they had that I Wanna Dance movie where you have another non-FBA trying to play Whitney Houston. And I'm not gonna get into it. Y'all done heard me get into it before. Whitney Houston is my favorite singer across the board, male or female. She is the goddess, an FBA goddess. And when I hear people say Whitney Houston is just a character, that right there is the shit we talking about. When these Tether actors come over here and they have the opportunity to talk to us and to learn from us so we can teach them more about our culture so they can put on a better role, so they can be true to their profession, they not even true to their profession. They do what everybody else does. They come over here with disrespect and vitriol. And when they get their asses checked, they start to cry. That Demetrius Tether guy, he come over here talking about, as long as I play a role, it's just a character. No, it ain't just no motherfucking character. You see, this is coming from the same people who ain't even strong and solid on their blackness. So of course, they don't even see a real genuine black person in the mirror. So you know they're never gonna see our blackness. See, the difference between us and everybody else is we love being black. We love it. We absolutely love it. We keep the lights on. Say it loud on Black and I'm Proud. James Brown was talking about that in the 1960s and 70s. These folks ain't even there in the 2020s. Let's be real about that. So when you start talking about these Tether actors, hell no, they ain't gonna respect our lineage, our heritage, and our culture. First off, because they want to be like us, they want to eat off our plate. Second off, because they don't even enjoy their own selves. This is the difference between people who have accomplished things and folks who haven't. Let's just be honest. When you start looking around the world, you got to get in a fucking time machine and go back to BC to find accomplishments from everybody else. You got to go back to the fucking kings and queens in Egypt. That's where they get their sense of self-pride and black pride from. We ain't got to do that shit. I can step out my motherfucking house right now and get black pride all over the goddamn place in real time. That is the difference. Why we've continued to evolve with our greatness, everyone else has went backwards. Everyone else has been at a stalemate. They ain't did nothing. I'm talking about all over. That's what people have to look at. When you look at foundational Black Americans, we are the most accomplished. And being the most accomplished black folks, that means we move different, we walk different, we talk different. We got receipts. We ain't in this motherfucker just talking about how great we are and ain't giving examples. We got more examples than a motherfucker can count. When we say we great, when we say we the best, you can see that shit because we show it. So when you deal with foundational Black Americans and all the things that we've done, ain't no motherfucking way somebody could come over here and play our role. But that's what we're talking about in the most subtle ways, politically and socially. They'll fly in all these other actors to play FBA roles. Y'all think that shit's happening on accident? You think it's a coincidence that Harriet Tubman, Whitney Houston, Fred Hampton, all these people, I mean, y'all name some, I'm probably forgetting a couple, that all these other non-FBAs are playing roles when you have FBA actors? Come on. That ain't no motherfucking joke. That ain't no accident. This is all a motherfucking play. That's how an ethnocide is when you're trying to get rid of somebody else's culture. You got fake wannabe FBA tethers who come over here and play our roles in the movies. You got these interracial couples trying to separate black love in all these fucking commercials. You got politicians that serve everybody except for foundational Black Americans and create terms that include us with everybody else. You got folks running around here disrespecting hip hop pioneers. We gonna get to their ass in a minute. Saying that foundational Black Americans did not create hip hop. Every aspect of our culture. Oh shit, not even to mention, you got folks saying immigrants built the country. That is the biggest lie. So when you deal with all these things going on at one time, where does that leave you? What's the only thing that you could think of when that's going on? That is an ethnocide. That is somebody who is trying to erase what foundational Black Americans have created in every single aspect. We're talking about entertainment. We're talking about in politics. We're talking about in education. Not to mention on all these HBCUs, you're starting to see non-FBAs. And they're starting to talk a lot of that Tether teaching. They're giving all these young Black FBA students a bunch of Tether talk and Tether teaching. And you're starting to see that the student body is a bunch of non-FBAs. The whole play is a bunch of non-FBAs who look Black just like us so they can slide in. Remember, their Blackness is like a fake ID. It's a fake fucking ID. You can flash that motherfucker when you ain't old enough to drink, and you can get access to the club and you can drink all night. So you got to be real cautious of we all melanated. Remember that shit back in the day? We all melanated, so we all on the same team. No, you're not. That's why I love checking that lineage paperwork. That lineage paperwork changes. Because remember, they thought they was going to get on our reparations panels. They was trying to sit in on all that shit and say, yeah, man, you know, we all Black. And then Black folks start saying, this got to be lineage based. That's where the term lineage based comes from. Lineage based is just a counter to flat Blackness. Had we not said lineage based, they would have ran with flat Blackness all day long. And you would have seen everybody from around the world with their fucking hand out trying to get in on our reparations. We had to G-check that. That goes back to what I was saying. If the Black grassroots wasn't here, this shit would be out of control. What you see now is only a smidgen of what's popping off if we weren't around this motherfucker. If we weren't around this motherfucker, reparations would already be paid and the FBA wouldn't get $1 of the shit. They be talking about we giving reparations to Black folks, just non-FBAs. And that would be another vehicle that they would use to bury us under everybody so they can continue this ethnocide of foundational Black American culture. So when you see this go on in every corridor of our society, it is a microcosm and a metaphoric example of exactly what they want to do in the long run, which is exactly what we talk about right here today on the Black AlphaCast, and all my certified freedmen have been framing this shit for quite some time now. This is an eraser of our culture. This is them trying to get rid of everything we created, because remember, if you erase somebody's culture, you can erase those people. And it starts with the lineage. When you can get rid of someone's lineage, you can mix it up, you can make it blurry, you can not identify, because that's really what they want to do. They just don't want to identify it. Politicians don't even want to use the word FBA. They don't even want to use the term freedman. They feel if they just don't use the word, it'll go away. So this is why they're so hell-bent on never using those terminologies. Now, if any other lineage refers to themselves one way, they would show them the respect by calling them that. We named ourselves, and they don't even want to call us what we call our goddamn self. Because they know acknowledging foundational means you're acknowledging our lineage. Acknowledging freedmen means you're acknowledging our heritage. And when you acknowledge both of those, you got to acknowledge that goddamn money. Now I'm talking about reparations, cash payments. And this is what they all running and hiding from. They putting on the motherfucking track shoes and they get ghost, because they know all these things go hand in hand. And my brothers and sisters are out here putting in that work, pulling up everywhere. Look across right now. These pull-ups are real. Black folks, all 50 states is pulling up. I'm talking about individually and groups. I don't give a fuck how you do it. I see Black folks out there pulling up with their kids. Remember, I told you, FBA kids is on code more than diaspora adults. So when you see motherfuckers out there with their kids and grandparents pulling up, there ain't no motherfucking age group. Ain't no age group. That's why I would say this era. I don't say generation. Generation got shit to do with age. I'm talking about the era. I'm talking about if you certified and you 90 fucking years old, you the same certified as a motherfucker who is 22 years old. And we all gonna put in that goddamn work together. We all gonna grind together. We all gonna get this work done, because it takes all of us. Can't nobody sit this out. If you certified, we need you. There's a spot for everybody. We are so versatile and so diverse with our skill set. Everybody has a different position. Brothers and sisters get it in everywhere. We start to see our brothers and sisters who are good in every field. And when the Black folks from every field get together and convene in one area and share notes, strategize, come up with new, fresh plans, that's how shit gets done. And that's why we're getting things done today. Remember, this last 5 years, we done did more than the last 50. And it's because of what I was just saying. We done been on code. We have been codified with everything we do. And we're getting together, we're convening, we're exchanging dialogue, and we coming up with real plans. That's why everything today is fresh. You notice that? We got new terminologies. Our words are fresh. Black folks pretty much had like 3 slogans that they ran with for fucking years. You love who you love. I had a dream, and yes, we can. That's all it was. What do you feel about the injustices? Yes, we can. What do you feel about the homeless rate? I had a dream. What do you feel about the lynchings? You love who you love. Huh? What? Shit that had nothing to do with anything. Black folks were saying that they would just repeat that shit, repeat it again. That's what was happening. Now we got a whole new game plan. This era right here has a whole new game plan of fresh terminology, and that's why we're moving the needle. We're not stuck right now. We're not sitting there just wondering and wishing and hoping shit change. We done hit that motherfucking pedal. All gas, no brakes. That's what we doing. That's why we pulling up out here. That's why black folks of all ages are getting things done. That's why we got new terms that regulate motherfuckers. I got a whole lot of them. Y'all know I got a utility belt full of words, and every last one of them sticks. And that's how we got to do it, and that's how we got to continue to do it. And this is why I love all my foundational black Americans with a passion, because the work we are getting done right now is amazing, and we all a part of it. So pop your collar to that. Now, back to what we were saying about the Woman King and all these movies and stuff, how they try to use, all these other people to try to play us. They're even going to get some foundational black Americans. They're doing funny style stuff. Viola Davis, we're going to have to call you out, because you done had them goddamn coon shoes on and you've been doing some coon walking, okay? I think she said something along the lines of, well, if you don't support my movie, then they're not going to put us on camera anymore. Good. I don't give a fuck. You don't got to put foundational black Americans on your fucking Hollywood screens anyway. Do you want to be a part of Hollyweird? Because what I've seen with Hollyweird, they don't even put FBAs on camera. All that shit, representation matters. It ain't representation because these motherfuckers ain't representing right. They're not even FBAs. I don't sit here really and worry about Hollywood. I don't sit here and say, I wish they put us in more movies. I don't give a fuck. That's why we have our own documentaries. We got our own money. It's all about black wealth. We can build our own shit. Once again, that basically sounds like, I wish Massa would let me integrate. I wish Massa would let us come on in. I don't give a fuck. I'll build my own goddamn house. You want to make an FBA movie? Let's make our own FBA movie, and then we'll go give some of them FBA actors and actresses some jobs. How about that? She sit there and still want to make movies where they got 99% of them are fucking tethers who ain't even FBA. And she's trying to basically blackmail us into doing it. And by the way, they're sending in a lot of trolls to these Twitter spaces. Me and my brother Beatzilla ran a couple trolls out. I mean, some guy came in there and he was just obsessed that we seen the movie. Because they be on payroll. Trust me, fam, a lot of these Twitter spaces, these folks be on payroll because they understand that these are basically foundational black American think tanks and they don't want us thinking. So they come in with that troll shit and they try to get us to like divert off of what we're on. Luke was at, trust me, Luke was on some Democratic payroll getting told to pop on in. And then we ran his ass off of Twitter. And I'm one of the people personally who gave Luke that work. And a couple minions he had, they all done got that work. Black Ops Network personally served him, packed his motherfucking bags and gave his ass a one-way ticket back to goddamn Coon Land. And he got the fuck out of Dodge. That's why his spaces ain't shit no more. But trust me, he was on somebody's payroll. Oh, yes, he was. Same way whenever they put out these agenda movies, they send people in. My brother Beatzilla will tell you, all these people, TMZ, all these folks was contacting my brother Beatzilla when we did our Michael Jackson space. And then when they tried to flip it on Beatzilla on the show, Beatzilla flipped it on their ass and they had to go back and re-edit the motherfucker. Trust me. Hit them up. Check it out. It's out there. It's a fact. Beatzilla gave them that work. So they be in our Twitter spaces watching what we do, watching what we say. That's why they start using our terminologies now. They'll try to slide in our terminology. You're starting to hear foundational pop up a lot. You're starting to hear freedmen pop up. I even heard motherfuckers say certified. And y'all know that all come from the Black Alpha Network, Certified Black Society. So it lets you know these people are watching us very carefully, very cautiously because they're afraid. Foundational black Americans are on code. Foundational black Americans are putting in their work. Foundational black Americans are getting it in. And that has everybody shook the fuck up because they know when we are on code, we are undefeated. And right now as a people, we are stronger than ever. And they know that. So no, we're not going to see these bullshit movies. They're not going to try to run that game on us. They're not going to try to separate us through film. None of that bullshit. Hell no. Don't talk about no goddamn woman king, a woman king, okay? I got brothers and sisters, kings and queens, goddess and gods. I know they try to mix us up and turn us to that way and turn us that way, but it ain't going to work. And by the way, would they ever make a movie with Wonder Woman beating up Superman? They would never do that, would they? Would they ever make a movie with Wonder Woman beating up all the men and call it goddamn Wonder King? Would they ever do that shit? Hell no. See, they don't ever use the same tactics on their women that they try to run on our women. And what they really mad about right now is that our certified sisters are on code and stronger than ever. And they can't stand that. They thought they was going to run that like black girl magic shit for another 20 years. Our sisters put an end to that. Look, the fucking election's pretty much here now. And you ain't seen no black girl magic talk. They know that shit ain't going to work. All that get your booty to the polls, they ain't running that shit no more. Look, I'm telling you, we have canceled shit. Things happen in real time. Just look at what they were saying and look what they're not saying now. And that is a reflection that foundational black American sisters put an end to all that shit. Neutralize it. They don't run their mouth no more. I ain't seen no motherfucking black girl magic thing on TV. Stacey Abrams, Mammy Luther Kong, she ain't saying nothing. She ain't saying nothing about no black girl magic. They ain't send out Kamala Harris. Why Kamala Harris ain't out here right now? Kamala Harris ain't out here right now stumping for all these folks, talking about black girl magic and black girl save the election. They ain't running that shit. Tiffany Cross Eyes or whatever the fuck her name was, she tried to come out there and say some shit. That shit got shut down immediately. And who shut it down? Our sisters. The Woman King, that movie flopped. Who shut that down? Our sisters. They tried to say, well, black men ain't gonna do it. Sisters came out and said, man, motherfucker, fuck no. Ain't none of us gonna do it. Because certified sisters speak for certified sisters. No Democratic shield speaks for my foundational black American women. No Hollywood actor or actress speaks for my certified foundational black American women. And then let me say this as well. No man, I don't give a damn what color flag you have with multiple colors. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You don't speak for my certified foundational black American women. And when it comes to being on code, our sisters are on code and stronger than ever. And when they got to deal with that united foundational black American king and foundational black American queen, shit, it's a wrap. And you can consider the game wrapped the fuck up right now, airtight. And we made it that way. So no, all those movies, all that shit is an attempt, but it ain't gonna work. It's all gonna fail. And that's what we're gonna continue to do. So speaking on things that are failing, things that are falling, things that are gonna be broken, we talked about how these tethers and the dominant society and movies and art and film, how they try to use that as means to replace us. You also have to talk about that co-contributor shit in hip hop. All right, let's get on that because you done had a bunch of guys. One guy goes by the name of DJ. He ain't even a DJ. I think somebody called him BJ. Y'all know what that means. Whackademics. And he said some shit about foundational black American pioneers are dusty and old. And he was just talking crazy. You see, foundational black Americans have been gatekeeping a lot of things. But what we've been going hard on lately is our culture of hip hop and just music in general. Jazz, funk, gospel. All across the board. Because people think that they created shit we created, so we've been G-checking all of it. You name it. It's not just the country. It's not just the movies. It's not just the music. It's everything. When you're dealing with someone who's trying to erase or replace you, when you're dealing with an ethnocide, motherfuckers want every single thing that we got, and we got it all. This is what it is. Nobody wants to put in the work that we put in, but they want all the benefits of it. It's a motherfucker who just swings around, comes in and takes what's yours, and then they leave. That's what they want to do. So folks have been running their mouth in hip hop for quite some time. Oh yeah, I'm talking about everybody. These little fake DJs, or we call them BJs, and the J stands for job. Y'all know what the B stands for. Them folks, they've been running around here talking this shit about hip hop culture and just straight up disrespecting.
That's what it is. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Them old rappers, man, them niggas, bro. Have you seen any of these old rappers who be like, yo, they're the foundation of hip-hop, really living good? Them niggas be looking really dusty. I kid you not. And none of y'all trying to come for me because I don't fuck with y'all niggas either. So I'm just telling y'all the truth. Y'all be looking like, every time they be like an old nigga talking about hip-hop, you be like, yo, bro, you sure you invented this? Because everybody else living better than you.
Straight disrespecting. They just walk in our house and tell us our house is their house and just make shit up. They have nobody that they can point to, and every single week it's a new motherfucker running their mouth making up lies about our culture. So this guy that we talking about, and we ain't even gonna call him a DJ because he ain't no motherfucking DJ, all right? He's another non-FBA. He's one of these chatty patty guys who comes around, they get rappers in the mix and they start running all these feuds and fighting, and they keep fueling the fan of negative energy within hip hop culture. Not only do they disrespect the hip hop legends, not only do they disrespect the hip hop culture as a whole, they also play a role in a lot of these guys going at it. Our brother Nipsey Hussle, RIP to Neighborhood Nip, he was going after this guy years ago. This is what I'm saying. All these people have bad track records. All these people have dirt. They got filth, what I call tether dust. All right, anytime you see somebody who's real messy, real sloppy, and they non-FBA, that's because they're cloaked in tether dust. And that's exactly what this guy is. So he came out and said these statements about foundational black American culture a long time ago, and now he done took it all the way back. And these people think it's funny. See, hip-hop has this thing about non-FBA people controlling all of the hip-hop platforms. All of them. No Jumper, DJ Vlad, DJ Whackademics, all these guys, all of them, you name them. Because what they do is they put together these little hip hop shows. They get rappers to fight each other, and then they're always like are low key criticizing and mocking our culture, saying, well, why'd you do it? They get them to snitch on themselves, really just working for the cops. This is what they do. And you can't really name me one hip hop outlet that is ran by foundational Black Americans. None. The whole hip hop game is ran by non-FBAs. And then they put these negative clouds and negative energies over our culture. And they're the ones who perpetuate half these lies and these stereotypes. DJ Vlad is running around here telling everybody that Jamaicans created hip hop. This is a W guy from Russia trying to tell foundational Black American youth that Jamaicans created hip hop. He has nothing to stand on, nothing at all. This guy is another clown. This is what you're dealing with. So our brother LL Cool J came out and he G-checked this guy, so did MC Shan, and they said some real talk.
And that came to my attention. It came to my attention that a DJ, and I'm not going to say any names because I don't think it's necessary. A DJ basically said that, you know, a lot of the pioneers in hip hop are, you know, they're dusty, or how can they be the pure person that, you know, invented hip hop if, you know, they don't have a lot of money, or if they don't look or represent like they have a lot of dough, right? Let me explain something to you, and say this for you guys. Don't confuse someone's ability to develop a business model. Don't conflate. In other words, don't think just because somebody knows how to get money or fails to get money that they didn't make a contribution to the culture. No one discusses Miles Davis's bank account. We don't talk about John Coltrane's bank account. We don't talk about a lot of even rock musicians, a lot of them, we don't talk about their bank accounts. A lot of great country artists, we don't talk about their bank accounts. This idea that you have to have money or else you don't have any value is a bad idea, and it's a misinformed way of looking at the world and the culture.
That's what I'm talking about. That's how you regulate. Now, I will say this. Fat Joe's been running around here saying a lot of falsehoods about hip hop and ain't nobody checked him. So I want to see that same energy towards Fat Joe that people had towards BJ Whackademics. I need to hear the same energy because Fat Joe's running around here talking that talk. Speaking of Fat Joe, did y'all see that Fat Joe now is hosting the BET Awards? First off, what has Fat Joe done to host anything? What has he done? Okay. Only thing Fat Joe needs to be hosting is a brunch. Okay, because he's 399 pounds. How in the world is he hosting the BET Hip Hop Awards? That's what I told y'all. They watching us. They're in our Twitter spaces. They're in any think tank where foundational Black Americans are chopping up good game. They're there watching. So they seen that we were out here pushing a real narrative of foundational Black Americans being the only contributors and the only creators of hip hop music. They know that shit. They know that. So what they said, let's give Fat Joe this award show. If we didn't G-check Fat Joe talking that bullshit, he wouldn't be there. If Fat Joe wasn't running around here trying to recreate hip hop, he wouldn't be there right now. He got that position at the BET Awards because he's been running false narratives that Latinos created hip hop. That's the only reason he got that job. Didn't I say, if you are willing to participate in the ethnocide and the stealing of foundational Black American culture, the dominant society will find you a position. They will find you a position. That's why they skip over foundational Black American actors and they bring in Tethers from the UK. That's why they skip over foundational Black American teachers and professors and they go get Tethers at these HBCUs. That's why they skip over all of the foundational Black American hip hop pioneers and they pick Fat Joe. All these people have one thing in common, and is that they are participants in trying to erase foundational Black American culture and insert themselves in, and the dominant society, being the one who gives the orders, brings them all the way the fuck in. That is what it is. That's why I say all these people are complicit. They do not come over here and stand next to foundational Black Americans. They had the opportunity to come over here and stand next to us, but when they come over here, they stand next to the dominant society. That is what they do. So the BET Awards, which we all know has been trashed for years, they're out here running Latino History Month. or Latino Heritage Month. Think about that. The BET Awards has a month designated to Latino heritage. Have any of you guys ever seen Foundational Black American Heritage Month on any Latino channel? All the Latin channels, have you ever seen any of them have any type of recognition of foundational Black Americans? Have y'all ever seen it the other way around? Now, BET will have Latino history, but you'll never see Latinos have foundational Black American history. And if you ever do see them talk about our history, they're inserting themselves in it and they're dismissing us. BET wants to basically say, we ain't shit without them. But you'll never see them say, we ain't nothing, we wouldn't be where we are, we wouldn't be welcome in America if it wasn't for foundational Black Americans. It's never the other way around. It's always that one-sided affair. We'll give them their day, we'll give them their week, we'll give them their month, we'll give them a special, we'll let them host the award show. Well, what y'all gonna give FBA in return? Nothing. It's that give and take. It's the same way why somebody comes over here to our country, they show us no respect, and they low-key undermine us. It's the same exact reasoning. So everybody's out there saying, man, fuck BET. It's been fuck BET, but now it's even bigger fuck BET. I don't watch BET anyway. That shit's trash can all goddamn day long. The BET Awards is trash can all day long, and it's just a bunch of fucking agendas. All right, I wouldn't watch that shit if Fat Joe was on it or anybody. And it just shows you again, all of these people are complicit in the attempt to replace foundational Black American lineage, heritage, and culture. See, we all remember, it used to be like this. There was one thing that was for certain, and that's foundational Black Americans created hip hop. They used to say everything about foundational Black Americans. They used to say black on black crime. They used to say we was thugs, we was on welfare. They said everything about FBA, but it was always understood. Foundational Black Americans created hip hop. That was the one thing that was for sure ours. And then they seen the effect, and within the last 3 years, all of a sudden, now they're saying, oh, by the way, FBA didn't really create hip hop. No, that was created by them, and them. That's the shit you get now. It used to never be the origins of hip hop was anywhere outside of foundational Black American lineage. That was never the play. Anybody old enough to remember, one thing was for sure, and that was hip hop music was from FBA. Now all of a sudden it ain't. Now all of a sudden, someone else did it on the fucking 60th year and the 17th day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now they want to flip the script and change it up and say someone else did it. Ain't nobody do it. It's foundational Black American creation. It's foundational Black American made and innovated. And this is what they've been trying to do, family. They've been waiting to get their Tether numbers up. Like Queen Alpha always says, it's always been the play for them to try to disrupt foundational Black Americans and replace us. That's what they've always wanted to do. They just couldn't do it before because they didn't have the numbers to do it. See, when they got the numbers, when they flew in all these tethers, why do you think they spend so much money on immigration, family? Why do you think they spend so much money trying to bring other people into this country? Remember, the dominant society gets done what they want to get done. They are telltale signs. When they bring in all these other people and give them all these benefits and resources, they ain't doing that just for no reason. They ain't doing that because they love these folks. They ain't doing that shit out the kindness of their heart. They don't do anything out the kindness of their heart. Everything to them is business, never personal. So since it's business and it's best for business for them to try to erase foundational Black Americans, they had to bring in every single group from all over the world and give them all of these resources so they have better footing and they're in a better position to assist in the ethnocide of FBA that they're trying and they're attempting to do. But they couldn't do it in the past because like Queen Alpha said, they didn't have them Tether numbers up. So why do you think you look and you see immigration and it's all skyrocketing? It's been going up. It's been going up. It's been going up. You think that's by accident? You think that's a coincidence? You think that just kind of sort of happened maybe? No. That was a whole play a long time ago. You can go back 50, 60 years when Dr. Claude Anderson, salute to Dr. Claude, he said it best. He said, y'all done seen the video. Y'all done seen it. We done all seen the video. He said, you always been the number 2 minority in this country. And if you couldn't get nothing as number 2, what you think you gonna get at 3, 4, or 5? He was calling this shit out in the 70s and the 80s. And we sat back and we watched everything that he prophesied come to light. This is how long this shit has been in motion. Folks who were not seeing it just were not thinking sharp enough. You gotta have that trained eye. You gotta be able to see what's unseen. You gotta be able to hear what they whispering. You gotta be able to see things from a mile away. We right here, Certified Black Society, we see the forest through the trees. We see the forest through the trees. When it come to bullshit, we got x-ray vision. We straight seeing through walls. That's what you got to do. That's the capabilities you have to possess in order to understand what's going on. In order to understand what's going on, you got to deliver. And we deliver it real good with accuracy, as I was saying. So this play has been going on for years, and Dr. Claw was saying it. Everybody knows, you can look it up. They've been planning and plotting to do these things, but they never had the numbers. They did not have the population. While folks were running around here talking about yes we can and we done made it and we done arrived, you slowly start looking at those immigrant numbers going up. You slowly started seeing the funding and the money come up. Do you guys think that the funding is just because? Do you think all the money and all the handouts they receive, and mind you, immigrants get more handouts than Americans as a whole. And I'm not just talking about FBA. You got homeless military veterans that served in wars. I'm talking about Vietnam War, they're homeless. I'm talking about the first Iraq War, they're homeless. The second Iraq War, they're homeless. And they're sleeping in the streets. While you literally have foreigners who come to this country illegally, and they're getting bus rides, car rides, Uber drives, translators. They're getting taken to the best hotels, Airbnbs, feet up, breakfast in bed, lunch, dinner, everything that you can imagine, while you got homeless Americans sitting in the street. Now, do you think the dominant society would grant someone else who's a victim of supremacy any goddamn way? Because remember, half of these people are fleeing their country based upon dominant society and American aggression. So do you think they would victimize these people in their home country and then bring them here to our country and all of a sudden give them all these benefits because they love them? Or are these people playing a role? Well, if these people are playing a role, what role do you think that is? Is that role because they're great builders? No, it can't be because they're great builders, because they're fleeing from their country. Is that role because they created such a great homeland? No. It's not because they created such a great homeland, because their homeland they're fleeing from. So someone's not building in their own homeland. They're not creating in their homeland. They're pretty much, people who have failed. So since someone failed, what makes them such an asset to the United States of America? Where in the world do you fly in somebody who hasn't even got it popping in their own homeland? You would think that you flying in doctors and lawyers. You could do that all the time. Flying a doctor, flying a lawyer, flying people who have created things, people who have built things. You could easily do that. But no. They get a lot of low-skilled people and fly them in. Is it because what these people have accomplished? Or is it because where these people can assist? They can assist the dominant society with cheap labor, and they can assist the dominant society with the undermining of foundational Black Americans in every aspect. AKA, they're just good workers, and they're more willing to do it. We didn't see none of these folks walking away. Have y'all seen any of these people walk away from any of these orders that they're given? Have you seen any of these people say, you know what, we're not going to do that? Nope. I know you want to give us this. I know you want to give us that. I know you want to use us as a pawn and a tool so you can continue to undermine foundational Black Americans politically and socially, but we're not going to go for that. We're going to walk away from all the benefits and the luxuries that the dominant society is trying to give us, so we can assist them in this fake ethnocide over FBA. No, we're going to walk away from that, and we're going to stand next to our FBA brothers who allowed us to get here, our FBA brothers and sisters who fought for us to get here, and our FBA sisters that we should show respect to because they've always been honest, strong people. Have you ever seen any of them do that? Or have you seen them come over here and say, we're all in this together, brother? Or have you seen them come over here and say, basically, Whitney Houston is just a character? Or have you seen them come over here and say, you're being divisive? Have you seen them say any of that real solid, strong shit? Or did you see them come and say one of those three things I just mentioned? And you notice those three things I just mentioned all came with different dialects, because all these people who come from homelands with different dialects all have smoke and vitriol for foundational Black Americans, and they are all minions in the dominant society's ploy to undermine us. Once again, that's a motherfucking race for seat, and we got them tenfold right here on the Black Alpha Network. So foundational Black Americans is G-checking it in all aspects, socially, politically, all across the board. Whether they like it or not, we own them. And when you own them, you got to be on them zero tolerance. You can't play with this shit. You can't play with these folks. As I said, our culture is very, very important. Our lineage is very, very important. Our heritage is very, very important, because we are very, very, very important people. And that's how we got to move, and that's the way we got to represent it, and that's the way we got to stay true to ourselves, because nobody's going to do it for us. And we understand that. Foundational Black Americans understand no one's going to do anything for us. We always operate better when we are in our own circle. when we are at the bosses table with other bosses who are foundational Black Americans. It is actually statistically proven that we do better in education, we do better in healthcare, we do better in environment when we are with one another. That's why I say I'm not looking for no new recruits. I'm only here to build with who's next to me. I'm only here to grind who done came with me. Everybody else, man, they can just fall by the wayside and they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. I ain't got time for plots and plans and none of that shit. All this scheming and all that sucker shit people be on, we ain't got time for that. Foundational Black Americans are getting things done. That's why I salute, and I send a big certified salute to all of my people who got boots on the ground out there right now, because we have a new era of activists, we have a new era of revolutionaries, and we're really getting things done, and we're writing our moment right now in history that is going to go down as one of the best, most important eras ever. Quote me on that shit, because I believe in it and I stand by it. So I salute everybody out there who's doing the work, and I salute everybody out there who's making the real change that we're all seeing. Speaking of change that we're all seeing, one of the things that we're seeing right now that is being changed right before our eyes, that is the Democratic Party. And I'm gonna tell you why. And this go for all their asses. The Democratic Party are the main ones who facilitate this ethnocide against foundational Black Americans. Oh yes, they do. They'll never say it. Of course, because they operate in secrecy. They operate, as Malcolm X said, some come with a bite and a smile, some come with a bite and a growl. And we already know what they do. Deception and subterfuge is their number one tactic. They get foundational Black Americans to vote for them so they can train foundational Black Americans replacements. This is why not voting for the Democratic Party, breaking that party, is exactly what we are doing, and it is exactly what is effective. That's why foundational Black Americans, again, are on one and we are codified. Look right now, you can just take Stacey Abrams. Shout out to my brother Autodidactic. He ran up on Stacey Abrams and asked her about reparations. Y'all seen the video? And what she do? She just rolled her big ass right on out of Dodge. That's what she did.
Reparations could look like for us. I think that we have to have a conversation about what reparations should look like, and that shouldn't be the domain of a single person. In part because I don't know enough to know what the answer is, but I should be a part of the conversation and part of convening those who can provide an answer, because this is a complex issue, and I think anyone who would say that it's simplistic is being disingenuous.
Now, a couple days before that, she gave a whole speech to the Latin community and told them how she was going to be there for them. She was talking in their language. She broke it down verbatim, told the whole goddamn world that she gonna ride for them. A brother couldn't even get a single question answered.
One of the fastest growing states in the country, and a lot of that growth is driven by the Latino population. We know that the Latino community is incredibly diverse, but that also means that its contributions are diverse. And whether it's through small businesses or through agriculture, through education, I know that Georgia is getting stronger, it is getting more vibrant, and we're able to do so much more for one another. We need a governor who's willing to fight for all of Georgia. You cannot fight for a community you don't see and refuse to serve. And my mission is to be one Georgia. And that means standing with the Latino community and that we get the future we all deserve.
Stacey es la mejor candidata para ganar y es la que va a ganar.
Gracias.
Mind you, this is the same Stacey Abrams who said, I'm not going to do anything for Black folks because you don't represent a large enough portion of society. Now, mind you, there are portions of society that have far less numbers than we have, and they always get things done for them. So you know that was some bullshit. She came straight out the Kamala Harris book, because remember, Kamala Harris said, no, she ain't going to do nothing. So that's Joe Biden said, you ain't getting shit because you ain't Black. All right. And then Kamala Harris said no. And then now Stacey Abrams is saying we can't do nothing for you because you're not a big enough portion of society. While we all sit back and watch people who aren't even a portion of society get money. Last time I checked, are the Ukrainians a portion of society? Are these migrants who are getting free bus rides all throughout the country, getting free housing all throughout the country, are they a portion of society? Are they even members of society? No. And we just seen that the Ukraine just checked a couple $1 billion. So all these people who are not major portions of society, who are not even members of society, not even citizens of our society, they all get something done, but foundational Black Americans can't get anything done because we don't represent a large enough portion. Not to mention all these other groups that get things done who don't even have half the numbers we have. But yet you come out and tell us, Stacey Abrams, by the way, she comes out and says, if Black men don't vote for me, then I ain't gonna win. Well, I guess you ain't gonna win because guess what? Black women and Black men ain't voting for you. because all that con game has been exposed across the board. Check it out.
Black men get blamed, and black people in general get blamed for failings on the part of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
When policies get passed, when statutes, when candidates get elected, it's like, oh, the black people didn't turn out, the black people didn't turn out. And now it seems to be focused on black men. African-American men are super voters for the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of people going to Brian Kemp and going to DeSantis, but the issue has been...
There are a few.
There are a small number,
Yeah.
but let's be realistic. The vast majority of black men are still voting for Democratic candidates. But the question, and the thing I hear from people all the time is important, is what has the Democratic Party done for black men?
That's a fair question.
That is a fair question.
Yeah.
And I think if Democrats spent more time talking about this is what we've done for brothers, this is what we've done for the working class guy and the guy in the C-suite, you wouldn't have these problems. And it feels like it's setting up a blame game so that if Stacey Abrams isn't elected and if Raphael Warnock ends up being defeated, black men will be blamed when in fact most of the time they're supporting the Democratic Party, even if the Democratic Party doesn't always support them.
Now you see that Tiffany Cross-Eyed girl, she was just sitting here telling everybody a week earlier, black men gonna have to vote. They was trying to shame us, basically saying if you don't vote for the Democratic Party, then you're siding with the oppressor. As if the Democratic Party does not represent the oppressor. Now, mind you, if you look at the tangibles and you look at the real facts, the Democratic Party has written the worst laws for foundational black Americans. They don't say nothing about that. Everybody wants to know the difference between a Democrat and a Republican is that the Democrat thinks that you are his property. He thinks that you are his lapdog. He will slur you, outcast you, and come after you if you even talk like you don't want to vote for him. That's the difference. So one of my mottos right here on the Black Alpha Network is I'd rather negotiate with a Republican than ever sell my soul for the Democratic Party. We know the Republicans ain't shit, and we know the Democrats ain't shit. But at the end of the day, I'm going to negotiate with whoever the fuck I want to negotiate because it's all about business, never personal. And the Democrats are not going to shame us away from that because they weaponize things against us. You want to know the difference? One group weaponizes all these other people against us. That's the biggest fucking difference. So when you start talking about this attempt to erase foundational black Americans, lineage, heritage, and culture, you can see the Democratic Party right then and there. Now, mind you, Stacey Abrams just came out. Once we start calling her out, she starts saying she has a plan for black men. How you gonna have a plan for black men and not black women? How you gonna have a plan for black women and not black men? The Democratic Party is the only group that ever talks about us separate. They don't never talk about these other groups, men and women separate. They'll say this group as a whole, this group as a whole. When it comes to us, they still talk to us by gender. Don't talk to me about gender because I'm going home with my wife. Our finances are together. Our lives are together. Everything we do are one. We are intertwined. We ain't separated. Ain't this funny because it's the same people who tell us we being divisive, but every time they refer to us, they speak of us divided as in men and women. Oh my God, ain't that something else? Goddamn, that's another motherfucking Black Alpha Network receipt. The same people, and I'm gonna repeat that, the same people who say that we are always divisive are the same people who divide us when they speak about us politically. You'll never see them talk about Karen and Ken separately. You'll never see them talk about Miss Sanchez and Mr. Julio separately. They'll never do that. But when it come to us, they'll say black men, black women. Shit, they might tell us to just get in line and basically try to ridicule us and scold us. This is what they do. They think they're going to talk to us because they weaponize everybody else against us. So Stacey Abrams comes out and says she's got a plan for black men. I don't know how you don't just have one for black people, but we're going to leave that alone. And then when you look at it, that shit was filled with all types of trick words that include everybody else. Because remember, the dominant society creates terms that mean everybody else, and they try to say it's for foundational black Americans. This is the play. The headline to say black, but everything else will say minority. Stacey Abrams and Nina Turner, whatever her name is, she pulled the same shit. Talking about some, I support reparations. And then when you start reading the fine print, don't worry about the headline. The headlines don't mean shit when you start talking about these politicians. They know how to put black on top. And then when you look at the details, it's everything except black. You won't ever even see the fucking word black again, ever. They might not even put the motherfucking ink in black. Like, write the shit black at least. They won't even do that. It's only the headline. So Nina Turner came out talking about she supports reparations. And then when you heard her talk a little more, she started talking about in all working class people. It's always got to be all. For everybody else, it's just them. For everybody else, it's just their community. For everybody else, it's just their lineage. When you start coming to us, it's everybody. Foundational black Americans are the only lineage that has to share. We're the only grown-ass people who created everything that has to share all of our motherfucking toys with everybody else. Everyone else, they could take their shit home, lock the door, put it in a vault, in a safe, and put a motherfucking key on it. When it comes to foundational black Americans, oh, we got to share every goddamn thing. Everything. And then they run around and tell us, this is for black folks. No, the headline says that, but nothing else is. So this is why they spend millions of dollars on migrants. They spend that money on them by the millions so they can have millions more of them so they can do this. It's basically a dominant society investment. Okay, it's just an investment so they can replace foundational black Americans. You want to look how off they are? Think about it. You haven't seen one black politician or any politician say anything about Jackson, Mississippi and the water crisis, but yet you see them talking about all these other migrants. You know why? It's because the Jackson, Mississippi water crisis affects foundational black Americans, the people that they're trying to replace, and the migrants affects the people that they're trying to replace foundational black Americans with. That's the distinction. I mean, look at the Democratic Party. Hillary Clinton and Chelsea Clinton, her daughter, sat down with Megan Thee Stallion and started talking politics with her. They don't sit down and talk to nobody else's entertainers. Wouldn't even think about it. Stacey Abrams met with Little Baby. Kamala Harris met with Little Baby. Matter of fact, Little Baby has had more political invitations and more political meetings than any black economist in the country. That's the Democratic Party. And this is what we talk about. You can bring in these rappers and sit down and try to talk politics with a rapper like Hillary Clinton's really gonna sit down and talk to Megan Thee Stallion. Like Stacey Abrams is literally gonna talk to Little Baby. Little Baby sat there and said he don't even understand politics. And she met with him. Ice Cube understands politics. Y'all didn't meet with him. Joe Biden's administration told Ice Cube to go to hell. Straight up. So you don't see any economists, you don't see any strategists, and you don't see black folks with any form of political savvy meeting with the Democratic Party. But what does the Democratic Party do? The Democratic Party meets with rappers, entertainers, and singers and dancers and just does the whole roundabout bullshit con game. And at the meantime, when you start talking about these non-American citizens, they're getting tangibles, they're getting policy, they're getting reparations, they're getting stimulus. So how is it that these other groups are getting things done completely? And they're not even from America. But black Americans who built this country are getting rappers. Come on now. We ain't even talking about legends either. We talking about new rappers. They not even meeting with the old school guys. They just finding any new rapper. You got a hot single out right now? Come on down. So how is that happening? Because this is the play. You bring in people and you put them above us because at the end of the day, you want them to replace us. A sister pointed out to me the other day, she made a point. She said, look, all of a sudden, they're going to use these movies like The Woman King to take the reparations claim off of the dominant society here and try to put it off on Africans. You see? And then what happened? As soon as that happened, Bill Maher came out talking about some slavery's for everybody. You see what I'm talking about? Now slavery's for everybody and it's not really America's fault, it's everyone else. That's why I say there's 7, 8, 9, 10 agendas in these movies. That's what they try to do. So that was a damn good point. Salute to that sister who pointed that out. Don't let them try to divert our attention of reparations onto somebody else. Reparations is about right here because we built this. And did y'all see the video where the lady was sitting there pressing the politician about tangibles? And she was pressing her.
Topic, Latinos are becoming unhoused disproportionately at an alarming rate. When you see an overall increase of people going out in the streets and living there, it's 4%, according to the latest count. But among Latinos, it's 26%. What are you going to do to address that? And we're going to start with you, Ms. Bass.
I'm really concerned about that. And I'm thinking that one of the reasons for that problem is a holdover from the Trump administration, where a lot of people, especially from mixed status families, might be concerned that they can't take advantage of any public resources, because if they do, then they might never be eligible to become citizenship. So I think that we look at why so many Latinos are falling into homelessness. And again, we have to address that reason. We have to get them off the street. So I would look at immigration to see if that is a contributing factor, and then look at also the fact that there are a lot of Latino families, because housing is so expensive, the city has become so unaffordable that you have multiple families living in one house. And so I think that there's a lot of different forms of homelessness. Some people are inside, some people are outside. We have to bring people inside right away.
Now notice when it comes to us, they don't ever answer them fucking questions. They'll move on to the next one. Just keep on skipping. But when the lady was pressing her saying, no, what you gonna do for us? They were like, oh, we gonna do this and this and that and this and all this shit. But when it comes to foundational black Americans, they run or they play stupid and they get that damn look. Y'all know that look they get on their face, that what? They walk around all damn day long with all the answers. But as soon as you ask them the most simple question about FBA, then it turns into, we don't know yet. We're not sure. And that lady was pressing her about what she was going to do for her community. And everybody was sitting there looking like, damn, And then what the politicians do, gave answers. When it come to us, they never give answers. They only start turning into tap dancers. When it come to foundational black Americans, we got to take what's ours, y'all. We got to take what's ours because we understand these motherfuckers ain't going to give us a dime. So as I always say, they going to give it up or they going to get it took. So either they run that goddamn money or we going to run their ass off the block. But either way, the bag going to be in our hand, and either way, we going to be what we've always been, the motherfucking best. Oh yeah, and that's why foundational black Americans, we on our game. That's what happens when we on code. We on code like a motherfucker. And being selfish is the main thing. The whole world is selfish. Let's get this straight. The world is about people taking care of their own household. The neighbors take care of their own household. You take care of your own household. States take care of states. Countries take care of countries. Towns take care of towns. Lineage, heritage, all of that. Everybody does for self. That is what the world is made of. Look at America. How many times we done went to war about the rights and the freedoms of America? We got to protect the freedom of the country. So what's so wrong when we protect the freedom and rights for ourselves? Everybody else does. See, what they want to do is they want us to operate under a special set of rules that only we got to play by. And it's a set of rules that keeps us handcuffed, blindfolded, so everybody can get over on us. And the whole world being jealous, the whole world knowing they don't have our resume, the whole world knowing they don't get down like we get down, they're all for it. All these other groups, man, they cool. They cool, they ain't even got to know each other. And they will all be cool saying, yep, make sure them black Americans is blindfolded. Make sure them black Americans is handicapped, one hand tied behind their back. That's cool. The whole world's cool with that because the whole world knows that when we on code, we a threat to all of them. So they are all complicit in this type of game and this type of system. So when we say fuck that, we're going to do the same thing everybody else does. Y'all fight for y'all rights and freedoms, we're going to fight for ours. Y'all fight for y'all justice, we're going to fight for ours. Y'all fight for whatever the fuck you want to fight for, we going to do the same exact thing. And now that we doing the same exact thing, look around you. They scared. I'm telling you right now. They spending money, dollar bills. These motherfuckers is having nightmares. We are our ancestors' dream, and we are the dominant society's worst nightmare. And we a good damn nightmare too. Let's keep these motherfuckers waking up. We got them with bags under their eyes. They can't sleep. They tossing and turning, all because of FBA. So it's all about being selfish, doing for your own, just like everybody else in the world. And that's why when we're out here making laws, we're saying foundational black American reparations. We're not saying for everybody. We're saying foundational black American tangibles. We ain't saying for everybody. We're saying what is in it for my lineage, my culture, and my people. Because we seen what it was like when we shared laws with everybody. We seen what it was like when we shared culture with everybody. It don't never work for us because these people get arrogant, they take our shit, and then they run. So we said, oh man, the days of sharing are over. We have an example of what sharing gets us. We have an example of what an open door policy gets us. We have an example of we all brothers. That shit don't work no more because whenever we was on some it's all brother shit, we'd always end up with the short end of the stick. Fucks that. It's all about us. It's all about us, and it's all about us. And if a motherfucker don't like it, fuck them. That's the way we approach it. So every law that you see we fighting for now, we fighting for foundational black American laws only. As I say, FBA only, no trespassers. We ain't out here trying to share policies with motherfuckers. Fuck that. You better go get your own. So now we got a whole world of people who have never been able to get it on their own because remember, they all rely on us. Everybody relies on us. They rely on us to come here. They rely on us to live here. They rely on us to get any type of law and benefit. They've never created nothing. You're dealing with people who have never created nothing. So therefore, they don't even know what it's like to be a creator. So therefore, they're shook. They don't know what to do. They're thinking, damn, that free meal ticket is gone. And we've been the free meal ticket. We've been the one providing food for these motherfuckers. That's why I tell you, these motherfuckers better never bite the hand that feeds them because we've been the ones feeding them. Trust and believe. Who has been out here providing for themselves? Nobody. Foundational black Americans have been providing for the world. So when we take that food and say, no, that shit going in my refrigerator. You can't touch it. Matter of fact, you can't even come in the house. Matter of fact, you can't even come in the motherfucking yard. I got about 15 pit bulls in the front. Don't even cross that goddamn line. Now they thinking, how we gonna eat? How we gonna feed ourselves? What's we gonna do now? And we saying, who gives a fuck? Because we know what we gonna do. We gonna stay foundational black American and excellent. And we gonna get this motherfucking reparations check. And we ain't sharing a penny with no goddamn body. The days of sharing, gone. The days of shining, forever. Know that. All the way alive. All the way alive. So the real truth of the matter, and I got a salute to all my people out there. I want you to look at this as a prime example. And this is how people feel about us. Remember, as I say, when people come here, they're not coming here to stand next to us. They're coming here to oppose us. And let me ask y'all this question. Now, I mean this. This is to everybody in the chat and everybody listening. Please leave me a comment and let me know how you feel about this. If something happened to foundational black Americans tomorrow and we were harmed, We was locked up, throwing away the key. Something bad happened to FBA tomorrow. Do you think any other group on the planet would care? Or do you think they would see that as a great opportunity for themselves? One more time, let me say that one more time, I'll make it even more clear. If something bad happened to foundational Black Americans tomorrow, do you think the whole world would come to our assistance? Do you think the whole world would give a damn? Or do you think the whole world would see that as an open spot that they could feel? AKA, if something bad happened to us, they see that as something good for their goddamn selves. Man, think about it. Hell, they see bad things happen to us all the time. They see race soldiers all the time harming black folks. Do they come to our assistance when we're dealing with bad things now? So what makes you think if something bad happened to us collectively that they would ever give a fuck? They would see that as an opportunity to take what they've been wanting to take anyway. If foundational Black Americans ever slipped and fell, if foundational Black Americans were never here, if foundational Black Americans were harmed, these people wouldn't give a shit. They'd smile because they say, good, now we can take their place. And that is why we stay on game. That is why we stay focused. And that's why we snatching motherfuckers paperwork on the daily. And we're going to continue to snatch paperwork on the daily because it is what it's always been about us. If you want a friend, look in the mirror. We are all we got. We don't have these terms because we joking around. We don't have these terms because we got so many buddies. I don't want no motherfucking buddies. As I told you, I got family. It's all about family. If you ain't family, you an op. Lying in the motherfucking sand, you stand on that side, I stand on this side. When you great and you already the best and you already number one, you ain't got to go looking around. As I say, we are family. I got all my B1s with me. And since we on that page and since we pushing that line, that is what everybody is going to have to deal with because we're going to make it loud and proud. As I said, we ain't doing nothing different. Only different thing we are doing is we saying everything that we mean loud so every motherfucker in the back row hears it. And they all going to feel us. So when you start talking about this ethnocide, this attempt to erase foundational Black Americans' history, culture, lineage, you see it all the way across the board. And on this master teaching of the Black AlphaCast today, we broke it down thoroughly so you can truly see everywhere you look. You have people trying to have their hands in our pot. Everywhere you look, people are trying to take off our plate. Everywhere you look, people are trying to take our name off and put their name in. To the point where these groups are coinciding and collaborating with each other to do so. Because it takes all of them just to even halfway come at foundational Black Americans. Well, let me give them some news if they listening. You can team up, you can click up, you can get booed up. And each one of y'all motherfuckers is going to bow down to FBA because we run the yard and we are the kings and queens at the table and we set the motherfucking trends. Know that. All right, family, y'all know what time it is, man. Make sure you leave a like on that. Make sure you subscribe to the Black Alpha Network, certified BLACK. Right here, we center everything in our excellence. So if you ever want that real, certified, thorough, foundational Black American energy, frequency, and soul, we got it for you right here, I promise. And I'm going to continue to bring that heat, and I'm going to continue to spit that fire because this is all of us. I swear to God, y'all, I do this for the whole family. I appreciate everybody who supports me. I don't care if it's one comment. I don't care if it's 2 comments. And if you support the Cash App, I support you. I thank you very much from the bottom of my FBA heart. I promise you that. This is all about our lineage, our culture, and our heritage. This is all about the future, passing down generational wealth and passing down certified energy to the kids coming up underneath us. We're going to leave a better FBA world for them than what was left for us because we got the tools, we got the talent, we got the skills to pay the bills. So let's get it in. Like I said in the very beginning, we're going to lay out every single issue. We're going to break down all the facts. But the answer is already in solid stone. And that answer is that foundational Black Americans will continue to be the royal lineage right here on this planet that everybody wants to be, but can't nobody see. That is a fact 100%. All right, y'all. It's good kicking it with you. One love from the Black Alpha Network. Queen Alpha, I love you, darling. We're going to put it down, everybody. Make sure you guys tune in to all the Twitter spaces. Hit me up on Twitter. If you're following me and I'm not following you, please DM me and tell me, and I will follow you right back because I love being with the family. Y'all know that. I know that. We know that. The world know that. So let's continue to stand strong together. Let's continue to build. Let's continue to put in that work. And the more we grind, the more we shine, the more these motherfuckers going to fall to the side. Yes, indeed. All right, everybody. Y'all remember the best part about waking up Black is another day to be excellent. And y'all remember this as well. Black is beautiful. And beautiful is always Black. One love.